What is up, everybody? Welcome on back to another week of Warzone Total Frenzy. Hope you left your loadouts at home because you will not need them this week, and it is going to be ground loot only match point trios. My name is Dandra. I'm joined by the ever spectacular Spider Tiff. Tiff, how you doing today, girl?
Hey, I'm good. Anytime someone comes in and hits me with like amazing, I'm like, oh, that makes me feel like Spider-Man. But you said spectacular and you kind of kept things on your toes. I'm good though. I'm excited to jump back in, see some more Call of Duty Warzone match point, and maybe, who knows, we could see another new winner. That's what I'm here about, right?
I mean, if there's any week, it's going to be this one, right? You can't use your normal guns that you have. You are going to be left to whatever you got on the ground that you can manage to find out there. So let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about our format here today and what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of games. Because, well, like we mentioned, we're going to have our trios dropping into our custom lobbies here today. Like Tiff mentioned, it is Call of Duty Warzone match point, which we'll talk a little bit about what that means in a hot second. And everybody will be playing for that $10,000 prize pool you've come to know and love it here as part of Warzone Total Frenzy. Let's take a look at how that $10,000 breaks down though, Tiff, because it's not going to all go to one person. Just only the majority is going to go to one person.
Yeah, fair. Only the majority. Every time I see this, I'm like, do they split it equally between the trio or someone grabbing the majority, like you said? But first place, that team will walk away with $7,000. Second place, $2K. Third place, $1K. Now, granted, we do have 29 trios that will be competing here today. So as long as you find yourself in the top 3 at the end of the day, kind of, right? We know first place kind of locks it in. We'll explain that in a minute, but that's what you got to do. Just be the top 3 teams. Be better than the rest.
Be better than the rest. A really kind of not easy feat when we get ready to talk about some of our teams here in a little bit. You mentioned though, Tiff, we are doing Call of Duty Warzone match point. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about how does that scoring break on down, because if this is your first time somehow tuning in, maybe you're like, hey, you just see us here on the Call of Duty Twitch, you're like, what's going on here? Players are going to be earning 1 point per elimination in the map, all right? But those points are going to get multiplied depending on where they end up on the leaderboard. So you can see there in a game, if you are the winner of that game, well, hey, you're doubling all of your points. Second to fifth, 1.8, and you can see us kind of sliding down the scale there. So kind of the goal here today, you want to be that first team to cross 150 points total. We like to call that the good old win condition. So if you want to be one of those first teams to hit the win condition, cross 150 points, and then you need to just win a game. Does not matter how many eliminations you get, doesn't matter if it's one person or all 3 players alive, as long as you win the game, you will be our winners of today's event. And when that happens, the rest of the leaderboard goes ahead and freezes as well. So that's where second and third kind of comes in clutch as well. So even if you're not going to be that team at the top, it's still important that you perform all day long, because you want to be one of those teams taking home the cash. But speaking of team Tiff, we have some 29 trios playing here today. Let's talk a little bit about them, because we're seeing a little bit of a shakeup now that I think some of these rosters are done with World Series of Warzone. They're finally like, oh my gosh, I can play with other people for the first time in forever. So walk me through when we take a look at this kind of first page. Who are we looking at for some of our teams that you think might make some noise here today?
Ooh, and there's so many solid ones. Every week for Warzone Total Frenzy, we get to lock into our squads, and I'm just like, wow, I don't even know how you could see anyone else take it. You've got the Omit EU roster that just everyone keeps bringing up. Enkeo, gromalokk, heats, astronomical when it comes to playing in this format, and they've only been getting better. But then you have Unrational, Scum, and Dongy, and I'm just like, this roster could equally do it. I'm just waiting for them to be able to excel at this format. And then, of course, we mentioned Omit EU. We've got Omit NA, Braxton, Juju, Youngsters. But then it just keeps on going, Dandro, because I feel like every heavy-hitting squad might be on this page.
Yeah, this first page is a little bit heavy, like you mentioned. We got bottom right. You cannot mention them. SSD, Team Falcons, Team Biffle, Shifty, and Soka, ready to continue their run here in Warzone Total Frenzy. But let's take a look at some others, because I don't want to yap about those guys too long. I feel like I've talked only about them for the last 2 weeks or so. So there are a couple other teams that we got to mention on this side. We have some mainstays that we're used to seeing, like Aydan, DJ Moss, Z Smith. I'm looking at Ride Up, Picnic, and Oakley Boy, FIFA Jukies, and Lennon. But we have a couple of sort of newer teams forming. I'm looking at Swish'em, Clown, and Launard, as well as Z Colors, Devo, and Finessence. So I think we have some new kind of trios coming on in. But Tiff, you kind of actually called out that there was a trio that caught your eye when we were looking at these before we went live that maybe might go a little bit sleeper here today.
Look, it's going to be team rated, right? I talk about them a lot, but now we've got some roster mania that's kind of occurring, like you mentioned, post World Series of Warzone. If teams didn't actually hit that qualification to the global LAN finals, some rosters are starting to shake that up. However, rated, attract, believe. I was not anticipating this squad to come through because I was like, oh, Prospect, he's been playing with Rated for the past couple months now. And then you look at Prospect's name kind of locked in over there alongside Sin and Little Mario. However, Aydan, DJ Moss, and Z Smith were looking pretty impressive earlier this week in other tournaments, and I'd love to see them kind of go the distance because they were saying, you know, they didn't really play their best. They were kind of playing mid and they still performed well. Okay, well, fire it up, perform amazing, and then win it here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely would love to see them. That's a squad that I'm waiting to kind of have some great games and really come online. But let's take a look at some of our final trios that we got competing here today. And well, when we look across, we got gabekun flanked and blast. That's a team that I love. Assault just taking on the lobby by himself, apparently. I'll be curious to see how that one comes on through. We got Destroy, Envy, Raul, natedogg, a very fantastic trio that we love to go ahead and see. And well, as I'm kind of looking across to, we have a couple other teams, and that kind of caught my eye because while we have Destroy here, well, guess what? He's not the only player from his bloodline playing today. We got stablejay, E700, and Funzy also as another trio. I don't know, Tiff, maybe we'll see some brother on brother bashing go on then.
I hope so. You know, you talked about it earlier in prior iterations. We've seen stablejay kind of just jump into this competitive Warzone fray. A lot of that began back just, you know, a couple weeks ago, right? On LAN, clutching up a win in a game, and now is just like, let this be the fuel to my fire. Let me just carry off this momentum, and to see them competing alongside E700 and Funzy, it'll be quite interesting. However, we also do have Skullface, Almond, Noobs, ready to see them pop off. Tommy, Obs, Teeny back again. But then we were like, okay, well, we saw Bulieve on the prior page, but you've got Mutex and Intex linking up here with Robstar, bringing in a player from across the way, so that one should be quite interesting.
One last one as we come back out to us. Careless Kitty, T, and Echo. I'm actually really excited about that. T has kind of been making some waves, of course, in that World Series of Warzone, LCQ, just having some monster games. Kind of being able to pair up with Echo, who you and I both know actually has carried us both to a win in a tournament. And that should be testament of that guy's skill alone, that he can carry us backpacks along to a win. But then obviously alongside Careless Kitty, who's a very solid competitor in her own right. So that's a squad I think that could be really, really fun here today as well. So we talked about the format, we talked about our teams, we talked about the prizing, Tiff. We are just about ready to head into map number 1. So before we do, let's talk a little bit about the macro strategy, because it does change up a little bit when we talk about ground loot only. Okay, so let's talk a little bit to our viewers here at home. What does that mean when we say ground loot only?
No loadouts. You cannot use your loadout weapons. However, if you do see your loadout and you want to hit it, maybe grab your equipment and your perks from there, that is totally okay. But you are not allowed to use loadout weapons. So let's say you get your $25 cash right off the rip, you want to go buy a weapon from the buy station. That's just not going to be feasible for you, because that's the only thing that's really banned. No loadout weapons. So use what you got. Hopefully you can find some better loot, get an AR or two, and make sure that they've got the better attachments onto them. Whether you pick up a ground loot FJX Horus or a WSP Swarm, or you find the Superior on the ground, fantastic. That's what you're going to know and love. And if you want to fly and fry with those, that's going to be the way to success.
Yeah, and also alongside that, just let everybody know, no loadout crates either. That's the other one, right? You know, you have those crates around the map. You can hit and get your 2 loadout weapons from that. You can't manage to use those either. So it is truly only weaponry from the ground loot. Now, when I kind of think about this, I think we're going to have these, maybe for the first time in competitive Warzone, actually being useful supply crate UAVs, right? You can pop those, you can see where those orange crates are. You can go find some great gear and equipment from that to be able to use, as well as the bunkers, right? We've seen the bunkers kind of become this very, even just in normal competitive Warzone, are really this sort of contested thing at the start of a game. So now you can go in, you can find some great cash. Sometimes you can manage to find a fully kitted out weapon right off the drop. And I think that could be a really huge boon here for some of our teams today. So it's a little bit exciting, right? Ground loot only. Not everybody's going to be using the exact same gun. A little bit of RNG will come into it. We got to talk about it. It will be there, but that is A-okay, I think, for some of our trios. So I'm excited, Tiff, to get on in. Game number 1's getting ready to start here soon. How do you think that maybe this first game is going to go ahead and shake on out? Because I think a lot of these players have been locked in. It's very straight by the nose competitive for the last couple of days. Then we're like, yeah, you want to come play this tournament for 10K and you can't use any of your guns? Have fun.
Yeah, good luck with that, right? I mean, we have seen this on Warzone Total Frenzy before, and it was really fun to watch. And we were like, okay, if we're ripping away their loadout weapons, is this going to be slower paced? And quite frankly, I think it actually sped up, right?
Yep.
Because if you find something that has a few attachments on it, you're like, this thing's frying, I can totally go take team fights alongside this. You spend less time trying to acquire cash and worry about getting your weapons and making sure that you've got bunker busters, which, whatever, you're gonna save your money. Just go buy a couple UAVs, buy a bunker buster, and full fly at other people, because if they're going to be waiting to get their perks, right, then not everyone's going to be ghosted right off the rip.
No, I love that you bring that up, because I totally agree with you. It sped up the game a lot. You get that first $15,000 in your back pocket. Well, hey, we don't have to spend all of that on a loadout immediately. So I love that you kind of call that out. Get some bunker busters. Get some UAVs. Maybe you're getting an advanced UAV on kind of your first write-off drop, right? You say, hey, we feel good about our guns. We got 18K. Let's get an advanced UAV and start moving around the map. And I know some of our teams are definitely not afraid to get a little aggro, to get a little aggressive, and start trying to make those moves around the map. Because, well, one of the cool things about a battle royale, you know, the best way to loot and get better weaponry is to murder other people and be able to take theirs, right? So I think for some of our teams, they would absolutely love to be able to do that. So if you are a team like SSD who does like landing pop-off power, you get some good loot there. You get a lot of crates. You can maneuver around. You can find a lot of this cash. Might not be a bad strategy to kind of be able to pop that advanced UAV and start roaming and just full sending different squads.
This is actually something fun that you just witnessed. SSD back in the tournament, right? The past couple things that we've been a part of, they've actually taken a little break. They had a hiatus as they were kind of traveling back from across the way. But now that they're back into the lobby and back to pop off power, we saw people move into that area on the map when they were out of the lobby. Do you think we'll see some challengers arise off the rip?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but also I think maybe people will realize that they are and that they kind of need to adjust it. I think we're also seeing teams, depending on plane line and where the zone pulls and kind of that little bit of RNG, are picking a couple of different landing spots that they like to play at. So they're not always forced to try and just land at one singular POI. And even SSD themselves have kind of done that as well, right? Everybody knows they love landing pop-off, but if they get a zone that pulls hard south, they're not necessarily always landing at pop-off, because they understand, hey, we're going to be spending a lot of the game just trying to run into zone. We might get kind of caught on the outside by a team, and then next thing you know, we're kind of like in gas and fighting in it, and it's like zone 1 or 2. That's really not what you want to be doing that early on. So hopefully some of these teams really kind of understand that when it kind of comes to how they want to play around the map. So we'll have to wait and see, though. We are in the pre-game lobby, friends. So let me see in the chat, who do you think is going to be taking game number 1 here in our ground loot only Call of Duty Warzone match point trios that we have going on here today? Just as a quick reminder, you like what we got going on here at Warzone Total Frenzy, make sure you're coming checking us out on social media at WZ Total Frenzy over there on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it these days, as well as TikTok. You can see some great recap videos, clips from today's event, past event, all kinds of fantastic things. So we would love to have you on over there. So we'll have to wait and see to get on into that tiff. But I am very excited here to get into game number 1.
Hey, me too. Honestly, now that I started to think about it, when you're talking about who's going to win game number 1, I love talking about who we think's going to take this in how many games, because it just kind of gives us another thing of bragging rights, right? So I've been mostly semi-accurate. So I'll let you go first and tell me what you think it is going to be, how many games, and who's going to be the winner by the end of it.
First off, wasn't I right last time?
I mean, look, I said I was semi-accurate. I didn't say you were wrong. I didn't say you were wrong.
Oh, okay. I'm going 6 today.
Ooh, feeling spicy. All right, I'm coming in with 8, and I will take, yeah, let me think on who's gonna win after this one. Just let me watch the first map, because we're jumping into it right now anyways, and I'll kind of work on my prediction here and now.
Most of the good bunkers are out of zone. Yeah, there's no good bunkers to go through.
We were talking about it. Well, hey, if the zone pulls away, then, you know, you might have a team like SSD who wants to kind of rotate somewhere else. They are elated to see a zone like this. That is for certain. That's going to kind of pull up there towards that Levin Resort area, and they'll be able to kind of wreak havoc. But we're starting off the day. We hyped them up at the start of the day. No surprise that we're starting here with them. Stable J alongside E700 and Funzy.
I'm actually amped, right? I've only heard good things, but unfortunately, like, this is my first time kind of getting to commentate and really analyze Stable J's gameplay. So seeing them kind of head straight on over towards that city area, I kind of just want to listen to this for, like, I know right off the rip we usually don't do that, but I just want to hear their thoughts. I do.
I was late. Okay.
Ooh, okay. Now, you kind of just heard something there for a little bit, Tiff, that I think we have to call out, okay?
All right, give me
We are
hits.
not in the World Series of Warzone Trios playlist here today. We are in normal trios. So as a reminder, there's a lot of things that normally when you're tuning into a Warzone event are banned that aren't banned here today, okay? Things like reinforcement flares, gulag tokens, redeploy packs, all of it is fair game to be used by our competitors. So you kind of heard the call out that they were saying, hey, I have a flare. Funzy does get taken on down by Scummin. We know that Unrational, Scummin, and Dog, and they do like the land here down towards this downtown area. Bomb drone coming on in, E700 taken on out, sent to the gulag, and well, it's all on to Jay to maybe try and stay alive. I don't know if you can. Yeah, Unrational flies on through. Deleted.
To be fair, that is Unrational's second home when it comes to Urzikstan. He's just constantly lying in there, and he's like, all right, cool. It's just like another Warzone Total Frenzy. Let me clock it in and go back to my second home. But SableJ finds himself in the gulag against Little Mario, which is a formidable foe. You can see the utility, the lethal's already coming through. We're pretty much lighting up into a fiery blaze before the push comes through. Albeit, hopefully, one of those team members do clutch up and kind of hit that regain central. Just maybe not go back to that building just so quick.
Wait, someone shop in?
Skullface,
Who got the bounty?
Almond Noobs, Team
Why did you
Fanatic.
grab the sniper then?
I mean, it's a gold stock. I don't know how good that. I think it's really bad.
Did you aim ADS in it or no?
I think that thing's really bad. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
cool.
I love that. I love that the play. You know, here's the difference between pro players and then and normies like us, right? I would say, oh, gold sniper, like heck yeah, give that to me. I'm feeling good with it, baby. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh no, this gun is terrible. Please do not use this. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought that would have been cool, but Skullface, he's going to be able to maybe come on over here. Yeah, he picks it on up. You got an FGX horse in hand, Car 98. Not too bad ground loot to find this early on.
Definitely not. I mean, you can see that they're right nearby a bunker, and when you go into the bunker, you can find some good streaks. You get the durable gas mask, potentials for foresight, which would be nice when it comes to kind of making sure that your rotations are going to be locked. But this is a very normal area of the map for this Fnatic roster to... Did I just hear that we got specialists? Or are they just going through what's available in this playlist now that we're not in World Series of Warzone Trios?
Definitely possible. Specialist is another good call out, right? Who needs to worry about perk packages when you can have all of the perks, Tiff?
I want them all, okay? Like, I want to lock in specialists, which, hey, you never know. You can find those out in the bunker. You can go kind of lurk around. You can see that Moore's sniper. I'd be curious to hear what their thoughts are about that, because I've seen people pick that up, and I've seen people fry with it, and I've also seen people miss every single shot with that Moore's.
Well, I mean, we do have Breadman in the lobby, and I know that guy is just foaming at the mouth, knowing that he can get a Cat AMR or a Moore's, a one-shot sniper in hand. So hopefully they can manage to find one. That's kind of something else we got to mention here, Tiff. Like we said, we are in the normal trios, so those one-shot snipers will be hitting. So if you are a team who has a very confident sniper, you might have a little bit of an edge here today.
Ooh, for real. We got Castillo, deusamir here, and Zeedark. PDS in hand, and it seems like they found themselves like just in C-Town. So we've got to head north, but it would be nice when you see those mortars up ahead that we kind of already get involved. You mentioned the Cat AMR, and well, deusamir has found himself one.
If you can land with this, that would be huge. You're seeing a lot of fighting going on over there towards the bathhouse. So for now, though, they're just going to kind of wait. They do have a bounty not too far away that they could decide to go ahead and fly at. You're actually seeing them ping through. They find the unlimited tack sprint. That's another thing, Tiff, that we kind of have to call out as well. There are so many of these like perks and things that I kind of forget are on normal Big Mat because we're so used to just playing competitive rule set all the time. That could make a difference. That unlimited tack sprint is going to have you moving around the map. Oh, exactly. You imagine someone like that, like Shifty picking it up or something and just zooming all over the place in those engagements. But we're just kind of anchored down on the roof looking for maybe a clean third party. And you can see we get foresight, right? You get a look at the map. You know exactly where it's going. And we are going out to the north, up to Kotovo blocks. And then you're going to hang a left and go out to the water. We're getting a water area. If I'd like to hire you to be a GPS voice for me, but only when I'm playing Urzikstan.
I can go real high pitched. We can make it annoying so you wouldn't miss your turn.
Nope,
Or you'd be furious.
Really would not like that. So I'm glad that we've moved POVs here on over to Nick Cool, who has managed to pick up, of course, that unlimited attack sprint buff. They're kind of playing on the edge of zone here, hitting this buy station. They do have a lot of cash, and I think that's going to be a theme that we see across a lot of our teams here today. Cash will always be on hand. They see that somebody is on over here. Nick Cool with the pull me out. Definitely can hit like a truck. Not a bad gun to be able to find this early on. Maybe he can make something happen with this BP-50. He tries to go for the hop up. The nade is there. Not able to make it on happen, but Waldo is there for the trade. Finds Volcom. Colony goes down very, very low. Nick Cool will be able to pop the self-revive, play back on up, can hopefully get back into the mix. Would love to get a nice little team wipe here. Skirts by the Claymore, but Colony goes down. I don't know if it matters, though. Cool, you find Panda. It looks like they might not have any more nearby, so hopefully a little bit of a reset from this squad.
Honestly, this squad on your screen right now, they locked in that wild card map, right? You got Nicole's reaction, and it was so fun to see them kind of lock in their chances to go wherever that global LAN finals will be. But still, it's always good to kind of keep that reps in, right? You're gonna see a lot of practices, a lot of scrims, a lot of things going on for those teams that are really making their play at that. For teams that are also looking for a bit of a regain already, you got FIFA Kill playing alongside Wars and Lennon. So no Jukies here today, but listening to their comms on their regain here. FIFA does have the cash to go ahead and hit that buyback on Lennon.
I know Jukies wasn't feeling too good earlier on this week, so you know, hey, best wishes to Lee as he tries to go ahead and recover. But well, when you have one of Europe's greatest have to step back, what do? Well, you go get the other one. Is FIFA Kill tries to hit a buy station, and KK is just laying in wait. Yeah, look at this. Flies immediately on in, and KK's all smiles saying, brother, what are you doing?
I don't know, man.
I was curious as soon as she's like, I don't know, my bad. Didn't mean to actually just casually be here. Sorry, Fief. Good thing, though, Wars had enough money for both of them to buy back. But Careless Kitty, yeah, locking it alongside T and Echo here today. Echo, a very macro-heavy IGL, is going to be really solid in working with this duo, right? And T, she locked in World Series of Warzone for herself also, is playing insane. And I can't imagine what they're going to be able to do. Wait, Shifty down. Did she just say fire shot? I guess anything's possible, right? Ground loot only.
Ground loot only. That's what you love to see. Some of the utility going on early. And just kind of trying to get back up here to the top. Oh, some shots coming on in, though. KK doesn't want to stay up there for too long. Backs on up. Kind of underneath the guys of this mosquito drone.
You want to go on train?
No, on the LTV.
Yeah, he flashed me, man.
Let me know when.
Squad mate failed their mission. They're headed back to base.
Oh no, not T, losing to Shifty in the gulag. Now we gotta hit a regain. Hopefully Echo gets that really quickly because we knew there's the buy station. There it goes. So now, you already heard the comm saying LTV, but if there's people still around, KK's not her job at hand. Unfortunately, meets Soka. Biffle's there too for the cleanup, and SSD is making their presence known.
Coming on over here. No surprise that they are sitting around this area. Very quickly find KK, Biffle, and Soka. Gonna just bring them down in a nice little sort of two-man engagement. They're now just kind of playing this edge zone, looking to see, is anybody else trying to make a similar wrap here? They can spot some people.
That's actually such a good gun, too.
On the deep.
Front by.
Striker in hand for Biffle. That's definitely going to be feeling very, very solid as a sub. And you can see that LMG in hand for those long-range engagements. When you're someone like Biffle, well, realistically, any gun in this kid's hand is going to look a little crazy. So I always love kind of seeing that tiff when some of our top-tier players, you know, what guns are they gravitating towards when it comes to this ground loot, right? Is there anything that they're really trying to make sure that they grab or that they see that they're like, yo, I'd rather have a level 3 this than a level 5 other gun, for instance?
Completely accurate. They also have that foresight available to them. So just working this like northwestern side of the map is going to be very smart for them. He's got the PKM in the back pocket, and his teams look to rotate here because we're chaining those UAVs together, right? It's going to be Careless Kitty once again looking to hit a reset. And oh my God, is this for real? And I'm happy for Biffle. I'm happy for Biffle. Okay. Get your bag.
Gifted $2 grand.
I think so.
Hey, listen, I know you might be tuning into Warzone Total Frenzy for the gameplay and the action, but it's also a frenzy. Getting $2,000 on stream.
I'll wait for the reaction because he's locked. Look, he is definitely a solid competitor, and when he is in a tournament, my man is locked.
Oh gosh, I saw that come up and I thought it was like 100 gifted. I was like, oh, that's super cool, great. Well, I just wasn't expecting that. Oh, today is going to be full of surprises, Tiff, as we see them start to try and engage a team as they've made their way into zone. UAV pulsing on out, giving them an idea of where these opponents are. Biffle laying in wait. Maybe you can catch someone on the back foot. Another UAV in pocket will still give them this information. A little bit of a patient play here from these three boys.
I was gonna say, I was wondering if we were getting donations for like gaming sessions with Biffle, and I was like, that's not it. That's only Pokemon, and that's for charity over there elsewhere.
Are they multiple on roof? On roof.
Ooh, okay, good shots. We love that. Coming on, and I love that he's kind of just playing this wall. They're trying to hold this heady, and well, when you have like 100 rounds in this Pulumi, you are absolutely going to be able to start pushing him. And well, that's DJ Moss going down to the hands of Shifty. You know that Aydan and Zeesmith gotta be around here as well as they start to fly on forward. Gonna be able to clean one up, look on over, and that should be a team wipe for this squad. If they can manage to clean them up, they can. Aydan goes down. The Falcons flying on through, eliminating teams one by one.
Something that's really crazy about when this squad goes into a fight towards the end, they're like 3 deep, right? Anytime they take a 3v3, they usually at max lose out on 1. And they kind of just always manage to regain. But you see Breadman, Jowo, Born Jace on your screen. We were wondering, would Breadman be having a sniper in hand? 100%. Do they also have foresight? They do. And look where they've positioned themselves alongside an LTV. I would love to see someone go pop off in that jet ski and Kenny powers it, but we'll just have to wait and see because Bread still got an angle, still looking to connect it.
You know, you keep making this Kenny Powers reference, and I don't know who that is, and maybe I need to look up a montage or something, but I don't know what I would prefer more, a Kenny Powers montage or a Breadman sniper montage. We've seen that quite a few times here on Warzone Total Frenzy, and so I like where their positioning currently sitting is. Looking on through, Cat AMR in hand. Only found 2 eliminations so far, though, so that one's the only thing that has me a little bit worried here, Tiff, that, you know, maybe you found positioning, you've set yourself up great for this end game, but have you been able to find the eliminations to really take advantage of it?
Not quite. We're sitting on 2 with 18 squads up, and we started the day with 29, right? So we've only lost out on just a few squads, but this does start putting us up in those higher multipliers, which will affect, but you need to have those eliminations to make those multipliers really work for you. But we're focusing on position as opposed to kind of fighting our way out through that edge of zone. You do see some information, a red dot in the building just across the way, but knowing that this is going to be tough to move from the open buildings towards this kind of shack, I still love it.
No, and you're even using the LTV to kind of block off the line of sight, you know, from the left side. So I love this. They can kind of look down, you know, at the teams are where they eventually need to go. That's fine, but they kind of have full sight line, but they don't have to expose themselves too much to the rest of the zone from a different angle. So right now, though, they are just trying to, you know, maybe you hit a shot. Red, you got 80 bullets in the backpack, so yeah, I mean, you have that many, go ahead and let them rip, because I got to imagine if you're able to hit, you know, one of these shots, can bring them on down, maybe that's your opportunity to fly on forward. I believe we're seeing 2 different snipers here. I do know that Jace also loves having a sniper in hand, so would not be surprised to see him also have one.
To be fair, one of these is bound to connect, right? We could sit here all day just constantly shooting that Cat AMR, but it is high time that one of those connects and we see a drop. And we'll check back in with that crew later because Unrational, Scum, and Dongy have made their way into that Levin resort area. And, well, we've got to see what we can do. Suppression mines, maybe. We want to get up to the high ground or know that there's at least a squad here.
It's kind of pointless.
Yeah, okay. We have flares.
Great, we've got flares. Came
He's
packed.
so defeated saying that. Like, we can push, guys. We have flares.
We've got them. Like,
We've got them. Unrational currently sitting on 6, so solid start so far. I wonder what Scummin and Dongy are on. Probably not too far behind if I know these two guys well enough. And I love the sort of angle that the Irrational is looking to hold, hoping that somebody maybe has to jump out over the top. Maybe you can catch them as they decide to float towards a new spot on the map, or do you maybe kind of play this a little bit? You're seeing some smokes on the outside. There you go. Some good shots coming on through from Irrational. We'll tag them up, but Scummin gets eliminated by Huskers in the flurry of all that chaos.
Yeah, but wasn't Scummin the one with the flares? So at least Irrational picks one up there, likely wanting to blow a smoke down and then kind of get the homie back. There we go. Scummin's back on it. We knew that was going to be Huskers, so you're going to have two other members of that team. I believe Jackal on that roster as well, and he jumps around, doesn't even look towards Irrational, waiting to let these frags cook, and hopefully they'll connect.
Ooh, I love that. You're able to kind of land those grenades right on top of them, but you see Irrational swings out just a little bit too wide, takes some shots from above, and I think this is a little bit of a sticky situation these two are in. The smokes will come on out. Hopefully this gives you the cover you need to maybe move on forward. Looks like it has for now. And as we cut on over to the POV, yeah, look who's up on top. Huskers, Jackal, and Gromalokk.
There they are. This would explain why Irrational's team wasn't looking for that high ground. Instead, they were using those suppression mines to kind of anchor off. Now, it's not ultimate height. There is a good possibility that another team had found themselves up there, but they're really prepping for this swing that we last saw Irrational on this other side. But you've really got to play angles here and see if you can open it up, and that could have been where Irrational was looking to throw some frags and extend it out a bit too far.
Smokes coming on through, and this should hopefully give them what they need to get on in, but this is a little bit of a weird construction area, I have to admit. You see Huskers come on over with Jackal. You're seeing somebody from up the top, WSP9 in hand, trying to make it unhappen, but a flurry of explosions coming in on top of Huskers. A mortar strike will land on in as well. This is now just the three of them stacked on up in a corner here. If anybody decides to try and peek this down from below, you will surely be met by just a beam of bullets coming your way.
Yeah, and this rotation's gonna be so tough for a lot of our rosters still trying to make their main way out of Levin Resort, especially with 14 teams up, right? We already saw Jowo and Co kind of locked across the way by that shack, and we're still kind of skirting the line of this circle, not quite in, so trying to anchor this off.
Well, as we get ready to kind of see where this zone goes ahead and pulls, we know where it's going to pull because we were on the line with Brett and Joe earlier. But as this kind of comes down to a couple moments here, let's do a little bit of a listening with this squad, see what they're thinking towards this end game.
I'll try to buy a
I'll buy a monster box and
yeah.
I'll smoke it
They're
too.
close left out here.
Right above us too.
Okay.
You guys have any C4s or stuff?
No, I have a Semtex, that's it.
Already, we're all gonna have to buy gas masks, boys.
Okay.
We can wait a little bit and tank gas. Yep. Throwing a C4 up there. Gonna hit shit.
Okay.
Caught one.
Nice.
You need to jump up there somehow.
I'm dead.
You can't even jump up there.
Yeah, is there not a way to jump up, bro?
No, there's not a way to jump up, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, that's chalk.
Damn.
Well, for our squads that are still looking for that rotation, one thing's to be said, that's chalk. Dandro?
Yeah, great comms there. Oh, we couldn't jump up. Oh, that is chalk. Come on over to Mutex, who is spectating Superevan, and yeah, please get me off that POV. I'd love to go to somebody still alive. That's Biffle. They are still here. Hey, there we go. Superevan. He's playing in the gas right now, Tiff. He's pretty deep right now, but it looks like they think that somebody is out here. Some good shots. You still have the durable gas mask keeping you alive. Ottereyes goes down, though. Superevan doing a great job going back and forth. And well, this is Fnatic as he is starting to piece them on up. He will go down. Empathy's still alive, though.
Yeah, and you hear the comms out. We've got to get top 5. Almond finishes off Ottereyes there, so Fnatic is going to be picking up a lot of these eliminations. 17, though, for Superevan Ottereyes. This is crazy. A massive game. Wants that 1.8 XL multiplier to really allow all of this. Can we keep on keeping on? But this early rotation for the C9 roster definitely paid off.
Hey, last time we left Brett, he only had 2. Come back on over, you got 6. So obviously finding some success here. There is still a mobile buy station. It looks like a bunker buster is going to be a high value item they want to grab as they're using this PDS to hopefully kind of drop that on that building. And you're going to see Empathy does get taken on out. Top 4 situation. Breadman's able to find Nick Cool. Flies down in on top of the building. The shots are there, but he's kind of getting gas out because of his own bunker buster. But somehow nobody else has started shooting them. Will allow Bread to hit the reset. They're now looking to bring down the rest of this lobby.
All right, and you just see looking to cut off angles and just stave off for a little bit longer for this flanked blast gabekun roster. It's just the solo remaining. Still some people in this area. That's gonna be Breadman himself, and the way we just exercise our patience to let it fly. But Nickel, Watch Waldo, and Colony 2K have been so strong in converting wins. We're killing the snipes. We are just looking for a win here, Dandro.
I mean, we kind of saw Nick Cool get knocked earlier, but it looked like there was just no pressure there. Nick Cool currently sitting on 10. As he's starting to fly on forward, you find people hanging out in these Doritos, flanked taken on down, and it's just a pincer maneuver here as they clutch it on up. 22 with the dub, a 44-point game to kick us off here, Tiff. We knew today was going to be a little bit extra action-packed, and I think that is a way to kickstart it.
Yo, I did not expect us to come out swinging with a 22 elimination 2x multiplier win, because every time we talk about kind of what that threshold is going to look like and who's going to hit 150 first, you want to stay north of that 30-point average. But if you're kicking it off with 44, and even if you hit a 20, that's your 2 games right there. This is an insane way to start off Warzone Total Frenzy.
I know this trio, you know, they were kind of third coming out of their NA upper bracket finals for World Series of Warzone and kind of falling off a little bit. I got to be honest with you, but I love that they looking like they are back in final form. Nick Cool with 10, Colony with 6, Watch Waldo with 4. I got to imagine Nick Cool, mouse and keyboard player, the fact that we have these snipers in the pool, he's probably feeling pretty good with those in his hands. So no surprise to see him up there with those 12 eliminations. But what a way to make a statement here in game number 1, Tiff. If you're some of our other teams, I'll be curious to see where did they end up. Because obviously 22 eliminations, that's pretty good. We saw Superevan, I believe, with 17. I think we saw C9 with a fair amount. I'll be curious, where did Falcons land? How many did they have? I think we could say that even some of these teams, even if they don't manage to win a game, you could still be having banger games all day long, being, of course, up there above that 20-point threshold.
There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to break 20 points easily. I mean, we saw not only that, but Huskers kind of having that high ground originally at 11 Resort alongside Unrational. Unrational was on 6 before we kind of left that POV. Huskers, unfortunately, couldn't get past that rotation, but so they weren't able to like get into that end game to pick up a lot of the eliminations that would have been frolicking throughout those fields. But yeah, you said it. I want to know, how many did Joe, Brevin, and Foreign Jace grab? Because they had focused on that rotation early, and yeah, he had 80 plus bullets in the Cat AMR, but when we were on the screen, he missed like 12, so it's fine, but hopefully some of those connected for a late game.
I mean, Tiff, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You know who said that? Wayne Gretzky, aka Michael Scott. Okay, so
perfect.
That's the only thing you got to keep in the back of your mind. You got 80 bullets in a Cat AMR. Might as well let them fry, right? Because hey, if you get taken out, you can't take them with you into the next game. Might as well use them while you have them. But I think we saw some of the strategy that we're going to see all day long kind of come out here today. I think between obviously things like those Gulag re-entry tokens, like the reinforcement packs, like the redeploy flares, players and teams are going to be able to get into game a lot more. And I think even just those 3 items being allowed in here as well is going to help mean that we're going to have teams staying alive longer. There's going to be more lives able to come back, which means more points on the board. So I make all of that just to say here, Tiff, I think I'm right here today.
I mean, so 6 could be crazy, right? So let's say someone does stick to that 40-point average. They would go into that win condition post-match number 4, which would give them 2 matches to be able to make your prediction accurate. So now I'm starting to feel a little worried because I said 8 games, and that makes me question a lot of different things. But I also am glad to see something different, right? Because we're used to that World Series of Warzone Trios playlist. I'm actually kind of glad to see all of these things come back into the mix, and the benefits that even Foresight alone, specifically for those rotations, because what a zone to get Foresight for, right? You just kind of pop it open and you're like, oh, I'm actually really glad we're not going to have to rotate down into like Old Town or Low Town. We're not even going to military base. We are going to the middle of the nowhere up in the farthest of the Northwest. This is going to be so critical.
Well, even looking at some of those final zones, right? I mean, we kind of saw, obviously, Huskers and them kind of had to rotate out of Levin Resort. On the other side, we saw Breadman, Jason, Joe. They kind of had to move from that upper high ground as well. Just to get to where that zone was ending required so much time spent in open space. So it's no surprise that we kind of cut on over to Superevan there towards the end. And he's like a solid 40 feet in gas, trying to be able to take on Fnatic, right? And trying to bring them on down through that rotation that's going on there. So I think some of those squads were a little bit hesitant to want to try and play a little bit too early there. Because if you were that squad, I'd love to know who that was that when we kind of went over that Breadman was sniping at very early on. I'd love to know who that was, because they obviously made that read. They get there super, super early, but then kind of everybody knows you're there, right? You're getting gunned down. You have to stick in one area. So it's either you do that or you do what a lot of our teams elected to do, and that is just try and ride that edge of zone as long as possible, play in the gas for as long as possible, and maybe, just maybe, at the last few moments, get on into zone.
That, or just at least do enough to hit top 5, because that was it, right? We want that 1.8x multiplier. That throughout multiple games, if you can carry that in our series, that should almost guarantee that you find yourself eventually hitting that 150 point threshold. Now, I'm saying almost guarantee because I'm hoping that you've got some eliminations along the way if you're making it to top 5 relatively every game, but that's kind of the matter of success that led SSD to being so vital and so dominant in this exact format, is that they are consistently making it to those end games. Now, granted, we really didn't see them too much into this end game. They kind of got hung up in pop-off power fighting alongside Careless Kitty's roster a few different times, but we didn't see them make it towards that end game. We did, however, see Fnatic.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'll be really curious about. Like, with a squad like that, were they able to make it to the 1.8? But even then, that's a team that probably had some very solid eliminations to their name. They make it to 1.6, Tiff. That's already feeling really solid when it comes down to the points. So I'll be curious to see how that leaderboard does look at the end, because I think we will see a little bit more of that. We kind of talk about a lot, that 30-point average is what we really look at. I think that could creep up a little bit here today, just knowing that we just have a lot more eliminations here on the map. But as we get ready to kind of look at the leaderboard, maybe as we get ready to go into map number 2, Tiff, what kind of surprised you the most from that game number 1 when it just comes to like some of the equipment choices or maybe guns that players are kind of gravitating towards? Because if you're just joining us, reminder, this is ground loot only, no loadout weapons allowed.
I'm still not sold on the BP50 with the conversion kit on it. And I don't know how you feel about that, because we saw the Chow that came through in that low town area with the BP50, and obviously the SMG on the opposing side just bested them, right? So not sold on it for close range engagements just yet. Also, the PKM. It hits like a truck, but it can be slower in some instances. But if you're just kind of enacting your own firing squad onto another team, that's going to be great, especially if you're looking for wall bangs. But I'm just not sold on those two specifically.
I kind of like the idea of the LMGs, but it is just like a little bit too slow, like you mentioned. I actually wouldn't hate it if you had 2 players on your team with LMGs, right? You have those 100-round Plumiots. Just kind of being able just to fire bullets at people, try and hit some of those wall bangs. You got 2 people just lighting up a wall. I don't know, maybe you find it down in there. I could definitely see that. That is for sure. So I think we are going to go ahead and take a look at the scoreboard after game number 1. Let's go ahead. Let's pull that up and see where are we sitting here. And well, Tiff, as we come on over, no surprise, Team Nicole at the top with 44. But it's not maybe as much of a lead as we would have expected.
No, definitely not. If you look at our top 5 in particular, Unrational, Superevan, and Breadman, they've breached that 30-point threshold, which is a brilliant average to hold anytime you duke it out in a Call of Duty Warzone match point format. Regardless of what it is, actually, love you, Gabekun, for getting your score in on time. Love when we get a good update live on there. So now a second place squad walking away with 36 points, even better than that average. So that true top 5 is that 30 points.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of where we were looking for all day. Skullface, though, Fnatic, we saw them towards that end game. Now kind of having 24 points. So not too bad. They get taken down maybe a little bit earlier than they would have liked, but doesn't matter. And then Stable J, not too far behind them either in 7th. So those are teams above the 20 points. But I'm looking at the other side of the leaderboard here, Tiff, and I'm looking at teams like Team Swag, Team Smixy. I'm just going to assume that Team Clutchbelg hasn't submitted a score, and not that they actually got 0, because that team is too good.
Yeah, we did notice that there were 2 squads that didn't have their scores in. Gabe was likely one of them because it jumped on up. So we're probably just waiting for clutch belks. But for teams that might not have had the strongest game one, kind of get your footing amongst you, knowing that it's the ground loot. Maybe grab that foresight and see what other people did in the meantime. Before we jump into match number 2, you can really turn it around. However, good comms on the stable J call up, because if you think back to map number 1, we were kind of starting things out. We were on stable J's POV, and they landed in Zerevan City, just underneath that same kind of building that Unrational squad likes to land in, and they were met with a ton of resistance, so much so that I thought we were about to see an utter breakdown of this trio. And to see them put up 20.8 points after that crazy start is wonderful for them.
I think what's kind of curious about when I look at this here, Tiff, is that even like a team Biffle at 15.4, right? I think maybe people would have thought they'd been a lot higher on this leaderboard. Probably not a great game for them. But when I look at other teams that are capable of being able to have a very solid, it makes me a little bit anxious of like what is possible for them. A 25-point win, definitely not out of the realm of possibility. They get on a heater, they make the right wraps, they kind of are able to farm a couple teams. I don't know. Do we see a 60-point game, 65-point game from them potentially here today? Could be possible.
There's a very real possibility for that to occur. And then you think back to this 15.4 point game that they just dropped. You drop a 50, you drop a 60, that 15-point game is pretty much lo and behold gone, right? Because your average just shoots up. And that's all we're looking for at the end of the day, is if you can get to that 150-point win condition or not, which quite frankly, they are one of the rosters that has been kind of the biggest staple in this, right?
Yep.
If you think about the majority of the ones that they've won on Warzone Total Frenzy alone, I think there's only been 2 or 3 potential other tournaments where we've seen a different trio win.
That is a great shout, because that is definitely the case. I believe they also boast something like a 50% win rate once they do hit that sort of win condition, that 150 points that's there. So absolutely insane. If that team does get to the win condition first, it's very possible, at least within 2, that they normally close it out. So if you are one of these teams who had a fantastic game number 1, well, guess what? This is your time to shine. Keep having these 25, 30-point bangers. Give yourself as many games as possible at the top there until one of these other kind of top squads comes online and potentially threatens you. I personally would love to see a new winner here, Warzone Total Frenzy. Sick of giving those 3 boys $7,000 every week when we run one of these. Obviously well-deserved. They are the best team when it came to these tournaments. But hey, we're doing something a little bit fun here. Let somebody else have some cash. That's kind of what I would love.
I don't know. I'm really good at casting over Falcons victories at this point. So we might as well just keep with it, right? Like,
True.
I'm going to start seeing Falcons in my dreams at this rate, Dandro.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that. I will say I did pick up a great t-shirt while I was in Riyadh for the Falcons.
Does it have Falcons on it?
It has actually a gigantic falcon on the back of it. It's actually super sick. I love it. Like, even if you aren't aware what that is, it just looks like a cool t-shirt. But enough of us yapping. Map number 2 is getting ready to get started. So let's hop on in. Here we are. Of course, as is tradition with our winners from map number 1, Team Nick Cool, Colony, and Watch Waldo.
Pretty impressive, right? And you think back to what I was saying, this is your wildcard North America roster winners. So we knew they have what it takes to convert these into map wins, which is the name of the game when it comes to that Call of Duty Warzone match point format. Now we just got to see them hit that 150-point threshold and then do it again. But they're already starting off with 44 points, and at least kind of bring it back to their strat for how they operate off drop. It's a great way to look into it. You got Zerevan City down and towards their left. They've already got a contract in their sights and just ready to get things moving.
Intel contracts, they can be pretty huge. Not only do you get obviously some info on where that next zone is going, but you get some cash, and you even get some sometimes some extra perks and things out of it as well for being able to complete it. So we'll have to wait and see where they're going to go. Looks like Nick Cool is kind of taking his time dropping. You get an idea of the lay of the land of where some of these other squads are landing. Maybe kind of trying to plan a rotation. And looks like enough information has been found. Immediately starts making his way over towards this Intel contract. And I think this is a pretty solid strat, if I'm being honest with you, Tiff. You get some early information, you get some early cash. You're kind of on a side of the zone that not a lot of people tend to drop at. And you're kind of just able to have a nice and easy start to your map.
Well, this is really a good spot to start. Not only do I really do like this area of Urzikstan, and it feels very undermined. Like, not a lot of people like to come over here because you usually see the big construction building where people will fight, and then they'll usually like rotate north or they'll hang out towards the east. But this area in particular, especially when you get a look at where that zone is going, we're still in the playable space. Also, the black site, cleared, done, SSD credited for it, and that recon contract kind of shows us that we are not going to necessarily stay super south. We need to kind of square up and go out towards that northeast.
Cool, we're gonna take the opportunity to kind of loot up. You can see a couple of most wanteds, mosquito drones and things nearby, so it gives you a solid idea. You got probably some teams to your left. Seems like Nick Cool gonna play a little bit ahead, hop in this vehicle, start maybe making some moves. As you go back to the team or maybe go a little bit closer into zone, looks like we'll just kind of come back to the squad with this vehicle. I like this, right? They kind of realize that if they try and go by foot, it definitely could be a little bit awkward. You have a couple of these teams that could be on rooftops that maybe are watching you, and you get taken on out. If you manage to do this, you grab this truck, able to come on over with your teammates, loot up, do what you need to do, and then start maneuvering on the map, you're probably feeling pretty solid.
We saw the precision airstrike incoming. We're still on the move. Front rational, Dongy, Scumbin. Popping up on UAV, and I was looking, they don't have ghosts. Some random perks amongst themselves. Now, granted, a little update that was voted on by the squads that are playing today. You are now not able to grab your perks from a loadout.
So no loadout at all. Allowed to be picked up. Doesn't matter if it's natural. Doesn't matter if you grab a loadout marker from a crate or anything like that. You can just not use a loadout at all. So you have to use what's on the ground. And well, not feeling too good if you are unrational. Gets taken out by, I believe that's Careless Kitty and T. Immediately into the gulag, going up against Destroy. This is going to be a very, very good gunfight here, Tiff. Superi in hand for Unrational. Slides on out some great early shots. Goes again. Okay, you got the flash. It does land. You followed up with the Molotov. It's not going to get there. There's another armor crack. Unrational just kind of playing patient. Feeling good, but oh, he does not make the read. And oh, Mayawa Shindaru. Destroy's just behind him.
What in the Destroy just happened there?
Like, we're not taking
Nani?
10%, you're on the heady. We're not taking 95, 5. We're taking 100%. And that would have been
He wants to keep it 100% of 100%.
Just accept that it was a fuck up and then move on.
Ooh.
It was. You're too close. You told us to wait and you didn't wait.
Yo, Nate, what do you think about cargo reset?
If you're close enough where he could chow you, like you're close enough where he could hear you, and he could just slide out on you, and it's a one.
Sometimes I feel a little guilty listening in on these conversations.
I do. I'm right there with you. But you know what? I like these. This is a team that you know that probably has these conversations a lot. Sometimes they can get it can get awkward when you feel competitors kind of trying to talk and work through challenges. But this is a team they know they want to get better. They want to kind of play together better as a team. And even though sure, this isn't maybe your normal mainstay hyper competitive Warzone tournament, things like that, like a breakdown in comms, it doesn't matter what type of tournament you're playing, are things that you need to make sure is top of the line. So I love that kind of just talking through that real quick while they're going a little bit on the regain.
Ooh, Ebates! That's a squad wipe.
Ooh!
Oh. Redacted weapons. Why do I feel like Ebates knows exactly where he needed to go to get every single one of those? Because he's one of like the smartest people. I'm not gonna gas him up too hard because I don't ever want him to know that I say this. But when it comes to Call of Duty and knowing everything about Warzone, Ebates is by far one of the smartest people.
Well, I can't talk about that player that you were just mentioning for fear of cursing his entire tournament.
No, you know what? It's fair. You can curse it. He's been competing in all these Warzone Total Frenzies, even though he said he was retiring from competitive Warzone to go beyond the pulse check. So you know what? You can do it.
Oh, Destroy on the buy, trying to be able to make something happen. Thankfully, was able to grab some smokes, has some C4 as well. So, all right, you weren't able to grab your loadout to get them. Doesn't matter if you can just find them on the ground. Doesn't stop them from being, from existing, that's for sure. So you got a Superi in hand, and you have this restricted DM56, a marksman rifle that, if you remember at the beginning of Urzikstan, this thing was causing absolute chaos. So I'm kind of curious to see, can Destroy put it to work? Because, I mean, if he starts shooting this thing and it's feeling good, Tiff, I think it only takes like 3 bullets maybe in order to get a knock. You could absolutely run a lobby with it.
Didn't we drop into some games and you actually were like, let me cook, and you used this for like a solid day?
Oh yeah, no, this was like day 1. I was rocking this.
100%. Well, we'll see what it does for them. For now, full reset here. Raul, natedogg back into the lobby alongside Destroy. Have a heli. All is well for youngsters. Braxton, we got to get Juju back into it. Finally have the cash to make it occur, but it would be nice to find maybe a flare, get it for free. They've got foresight, they've got information, and this could be the setup they need.
And trying to just fly through this bunker. You can see the gas coming on in, you know, hoping that there could be something around here. Doesn't look like it just yet. You can see Brax has that unlimited tax sprint. It looks like Juju was able to make his way back on in. So zone's coming on through. Juju, you got to loot up quickly and then start making your way on through. So have to wait and see what can they go ahead and do. Looks like they're going to filter a bunch of cash towards Juju. They're going to hit this bunker, hit the redeploy. Eyes in the skies. You can see a lot of fights happening down there towards those apartments, and it could kind of try and gatekeep this a little bit. I definitely don't hate this sort of plan, especially when you got a Car 98 in the back pocket for Brax.
We can roll. You can just keep rolling in, yeah.
Looks like they're just going to focus on their rotation. Yes, they see all that action towards the right, but if we're going to focus on making sure that we get into a good position with the information that we've already acquired, especially if we do have to cross that next kind of waterway, it would be brilliant to get out of cargo, and especially rotating towards this like kind of upper outpost area, you'll get a lot of angles on people.
I'm gonna hit him from the side he went in. I'm gonna hit him from the side he went.
It does look like maybe a fight is about to break out for Omit NA. Let's go ahead. Let's do a little bit of a listening to see how they want to kind of break down this team and potentially find some more eliminations.
I'm alright. Tell me, broken right now, are you?
Got him.
Nice. That's
what you guys get for fucking third party, yes. Another gulag, I'm holding it. Here, Brax, hold it. One of
Oh,
I have a buy. I have a. There's a gold car. Gold car.
I'm coming.
Gold car. We triple car.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fucking superior. You fucking redacted.
Where?
Take this gold car right here. Take this gold car right here.
I am. Yo, take this gulag, Brax.
Yep.
I need a better sub.
I'm throwing a radar.
Brax, can you drop me 3 plates?
Yeah.
I need a better sub. I mean, this is not bad. Fuck it.
Do we just hop out right now?
I think I'm going back on this side.
There's no UE up. They don't have a UE up right now.
They know
You know, though.
Okay, I'm swinging back this side. I threw a radar down, so.
Another team flying on them, I think.
Yeah. I'm wrapping left. They're fighting.
They might jump in.
Okay, I'm wrapping up. I'm up top. They just brought. Someone just rezzed up here. You guys could probably, like.
I'm at the recon, John. I'm recon, John.
Just wait for the recon, Brax. Wait for the recon.
I am.
They're all on the buy. Literally all on the buy building. We have a free zip out.
Zip. Kid on me on the tower.
Hurry. Give me
I see him live. I'm landing on the roof.
Okay.
Oh, forcing is descending you.
Yep, they are.
One just cluster mine on me. Second floor.
MPA.
I'm warning.
He went out back.
He's outside back.
He's right here on my ping.
No.
Another one on my ping.
No one's telling me.
I'm trying to push up. I'm pushing up.
He's knocked right here still. Juju needs help.
I'm here, Ju.
Help, I broke one.
Have 1 week.
One's weak. Both weak.
I'm dead.
wow.
What?
Wow.
They were just fucking pushing me out like crazy, bro.
All right, so after this gulag, we've got to have a conversation about what we just witnessed, because I love that Braxton is just kind of anchoring from a back in that way, right? But it just seemed like he was just a few seconds behind where youngsters and Juju needed him to be.
I got thoughts, but I want to wait to see this gulag play on out, because it's Brax versus Almond.
Well, okay. Now, drop your thoughts, because he just got shanked. He literally just got knifed down in the gulag, so let's hear the thoughts.
Okay, my thoughts are that's like a good play. I like the idea from that team, right? But the problem is where Brax was, is that team, I think, just realized that he was there. And when you kind of see that there's one, that squad, Huskers, Frolic, and Jackal made the right play, which is, oh, there's one by themselves. We need to full send this one guy. And they're able to do that. And even though it's not really an opening onto Brax, it causes enough chaos that once Juju goes down, that kind of surprise 3v3 becomes a very defensive 2v3. And the second that happens, I don't think Brax just got aggressive enough up with the other two players once they kind of had the one knocked. So it just kind of became like a really awkward fight that was there. You kind of heard that the recon drone was coming on out, but maybe Brax should have just kind of waited behind. He only had a level 1 Superi and a Car 98, right? So maybe wait, get some live pings from that recon drone. Maybe just have a little bit more time. Take that extra 10-15 seconds to figure out what you really want to do.
I love it. I love it. Then you would have been able to get through the smoke. But for Clutch Belk, B-Mark, Slide, you can see they got a full wipe onto Team Sin BKS just earlier, but we're getting third-partied and trying to kind of keep this dream alive. The smokes come out, we just constantly reposition. You've got all the equipment because we're in public lobby, or not public lobbies, but we're in the normal playlist, not the World Series of Warzone trio. So you're going to see so much more action and explosives here. And Slide, unfortunately, falls. That's going to be Raul. So you've got natedogg and Destroy kind of breaking this roster down.
Yeah, we saw natedogg and Destroy, and Raul kind of having some conversations earlier on in the map. Looks like they're able to kind of keep their cool, continue moving on through. As Belk, you're the only one left alive. Thankfully, Slide and B-Mark, you have your gulags still. 24 teams still up, so not a lot of the lobby taken on out as we get to the end of zone number 3. If you are Clutch Belk right now, it's all just about maybe kind of creating some space between you and some of those players. You're not too far away from zone, and you have some reinforcement flares as well.
Oh good, oh good, oh good.
To Tommy, and somebody with a fire shotgun is blasting in from the top. Oh my gosh, that was a good clip.
Last guy swag.
These fire shotties are crazy for Tommy, Obs, Teeny. Teeny gets rezzed here underneath.
That's on me. Sorry,
That's on me. Should have had a trophy there. Look, these are all healthy comms, and I feel like I'm sitting in like a Call of Duty Warzone sesh with these people as they just kind of iron out their play styles, and that's what my favorite part about commentating over their actual streamer POVs are. Oh,
I grab it, dude. You have the redacted haymaker?
No, he drops it. He's like, nah, I'm keeping this.
Yeah, I don't like it. Oh, ooh, okay. I like that though. I mean, any of these redacted weapons are just kind of crazy. I feel like this was something that we definitely, I kind of forgot about. It's been a minute since I've played sort of big map pubs or really kind of tuned in to anybody playing it. I've been really on the hyper comp scene for the last 2 weeks. So this is a nice little breath of fresh air. It almost makes me want to just hop in and start playing some big map pubs here, Tiff. Find any of these redacted weapons, start lasering. Oh, I'm about it. Tommy, though, gets to the top here. You have that redacted MCW, but get some good shots below you, but that player just had a beam as Teeny gets taken on out. What are you going to do with your time here? Looks like a bunker buster on top of yourself might be what the doctor ordered.
Hey, good thing that didn't hit you there, but Teeny back up on his feet. They've got control of this mobile buy station here, and hey, at least we're able to acquire a good chunk of things. The Gulag now officially closing, and C-Town being an area for them to really set up a solid gatekeep, knowing that all those dots are around them. Let's check in with our squad that did a solid in map number 1. Gabe, however, last alive. Blast kind of trying to use that little bit of Gulag time to potentially come back unless someone dies relatively quickly. For now, we just got to acquire that cash and get flanked back in the lobby.
A little bit of a hesitation here. Thankfully, well, it's going to be Blast winning against gromalokk in the Gulag. Staying alive, they definitely have the cash. Get flanked back on in. Recon drone from gabekun will give them an idea of maybe where some of these players are from around here. Good solid pings. Let them know there's a whole team there and another team not too far away. So maybe a little bit of patience here. Gabe could finding himself third party, but they are surrounded by so many different squads. As he pops one, gets some solid information and says, well, I need some more.
Check on over at Fire, and here it is. This is where the action is.
And then a full team here, and a full team here. Yeah.
Oh, they are surrounded like you said. This is going to be a really tough to try and navigate, especially if you're looking for that buy station out there towards the right, or even in the open kind of courtyard-esque area between the buildings. Even with the cash, Blast doesn't have any plates. Armor box, though, will be nice for Gabe to kind of throw that down, but this, I wouldn't even want to risk it.
I just think when you have all that info, like What's the play there? You're like, oh, cool. If we move this way, there's like 3 teams. If we go this way, there's 2 teams. And maybe we can go forward, but I think there's a whole team just like in front of us. A little bit awkward, to kind of maybe check on out. So we'll have to wait and see as we move on over to, I think, one of our other teams that wasn't too far away. Got Devo, Finessin, and zcastillo.
We can work it late too. We can take our time.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't zcastillo say he was kind of just wrapping up the remainder of tournaments and then he was kind of retiring from Call of Duty Warzone competitive?
I think it's an e-bait situation. I think he's probably just done
I love it then.
with huge tournaments. But when we got fun little things like Warzone Total Frenzy coming on in, why not? You get to kind of still have fun, get shoot your gun and fly around the map with your friends. But it doesn't have to be anything super sweaty.
Used to have a good time. For this squad, though, I'm actually really excited to see this roster. I heard they were fully stacked out, and Biffle currently sitting on 6 eliminations. Now, mind you, they're not going to be happy with that 15.4 map win score. But they are being tagged up on their rotation here on that edge line of gas, and with just over 35 seconds or so remaining, we're still focusing on just getting across this main waterway and set up those to gatekeep.
Yeah, I was told all 3 of them have specialist and tack sprint, which I think maybe Biffle had got taken out and got regained because I don't see the tack sprint icon. I definitely don't see specialist. So even if 2 of the 3 of them have this, though, like that is still such a boon to have. And well, when you're Biffle, the next XRK stalker in hand, he might be able to open up some of these team fights. You got a BAL, a BAL in the back pocket, a gun that kind of is a little bit lackluster. Let's be honest with you.
I hear him on the right.
Might just be Shifty left standing. Just gets a knock there on Aydan with the specialist, because he's the only one rocking tempered right now. So he's probably the one that was just kind of like holding it together. But Biffle pops on out and gets ripped from Tommy and Ob. So we've got multiple squads in this area, which we were very realistic of when we saw the recon drone go up.
Back on over, zcastillo and Amir. Okay, game number 1 currently sitting in 9th. They coming over. Amir is on 1. Ooh, nice little bouncing betties and the resupply. You have resupply, you have smokes, you have bouncing betties. They're in one of the few buildings that's still here in zone. I like this setup a lot if you are Amir. You have this Holger in hand. He can kind of just mount up and do a good job. And whoever that is maybe makes the wrong choices. They get absolutely laced.
I was surprised he didn't go down there. Honestly, Resolute just kind of keeping him in there for just a little bit longer. Filters out towards the opening for the rotate. We've got a mortar strike on their head here. Mortar strike towards the left. But we are safe in this building for now. Ooh. That's respectable for that team across the way to try and rotate under the bridge. They're going to be safe, but that zone does keep kind of pulling. But this is not a bad rotation to make a play from this. We pop out the window, and I think we're going to zip up halfway. Yeah, we don't... someone must be on their roof, so we're trying to, like, not go all the way up. Or we can just hang out here for fun. You want to try it again?
You can hear Amir was not too happy about that. And yeah, look who's on their roof. You got Robstar, Intex, and Mutex. Car 98 in hand for Mutex. He's able to hit a couple shots. Robstar will get taken out. PA on top of the dome. Will force him to go out. Wait, but they see a parachute there for a little bit. Was that Amir trying to go for it?
Maybe.
Again for the 8th time in a row.
No, they probably hear the zip and they're like, what are they doing over there?
it's the cat meme. Oh, what are they doing over there? Smokes clustering all of the below, and as they go down, 2 go through. Mutex and Robstar are taken on out. Mutex will be able to find 1. Can he be able to get the redeploy? He's not able to, but I don't know if it matters, but he is taking so much damage. Wait, did he just... Okay, a little bit of an animation glitch there. I thought he was able to get the redeployment flare off before getting taken down. It was a donkey with a C4. We'll take them on down. Back on over to Amir. As they're now kind of cleaning up the remnants of this, he finds a flare to put in the back pocket.
And we can just kind of smoke and stay here, right? We're 2 teams away from that 1.8x multiplier, but even if we go out now, you're warranted with that 1.6, and we have player advantage. You can see that mortar strike is being pretty much about to impale them all around, but we thread the needle of the open area straight into another team, and that's a squad ripe on to Bulieve. But job's not done. We're not into that top 5, and we've got to keep rotating further. Unrational, Dongy, Scummin. We saw Dongy getting crazy with the C4s earlier. They're stacked, and they're ready to make a play.
Oh, you're seeing the edge of gas. You're seeing some of the bodies come on through as they're just going to throw some of their nades and everything else they have. A lot of this zone has to push on in towards them. Meanwhile, in one of the few buildings remaining, you got StableJ and E700. Jay on 3 by himself. A whole team flies on through. Jay, though, doing a great job of getting the shots on in. He's able to find Dark and Castillo. Amir is there to play cleanup. That still is a top 5.
It's not bad, but look who we're on stream with now. Destroy, Natedogg, Raul. Destroy, StableJ's brother. Been in the competitive scene for an insanely long time, right? And we heard them kind of breaking it down after their regain at the start of this map, but now they've moved into the high area of fire. They've got ultimate high ground. They win for free. You hear it. Let's see them do it.
Oh, solid reset from the Ace 3. We saw Dark and Castillo get taken on out, but Amir was able to fly on in. Got to assume that was some redeploy flares there, but the shots are just going through from this Holger! And Amir! He lights it on up, holds it on in, gets some help from Castillo to rip all 3 of Scum and Dongy and Unrational apart. And wow! Holding their ground. Destroy Natedogg and Raul, though. They have the high ground, Tiff. Can they manage to hold this one on through? Some great shots from Destroy on the player below them. Where's the other team, though? That's my question.
Is it a 3v3v1 here? So we might have a solo kind of roaming elsewhere. But they're on the low ground. Someone's going to have to make a play for this. Or are we just going to try to outlive and outlast the opposing trio? But Amir looking for the angles.
Ooh.
Flanks right behind Natedogg. Dark picks up Destroy. And that is no longer a win for free. Amir, Castillo, Dark kind of shaking it up.
Oh, Raul goes down, and that's going to be enough for this trio. Amir, Castillo, and Z-Dark. 18 points in game number 1. Wasn't really what they wanted, but I have to imagine that was a fantastic game number 2 for them. Cannot wait to see how many eliminations they had, because I got to think it was a lot. Huge play there at the end from Amir to take the wrap to the top to fry them on out.
Yeah, I was not expecting that, and clearly Destroy's roster was not either. And you're right, 18.2 in map number 1. Now that you got the 2x multiplier for map number 2, what does that do for your terms on the overall leaderboard? We'll wait and see what that is, but at least they took matters into their own hands because they realized they could have just stayed down there, right? They could have been underground the fire and saw that circle close, but they're like, look, we've got utility. Let's go ahead and use it and hit a flame.
They had a couple of really big moments in that end game, right? Remember, it was Amir who was trying to be able to keep the squad because we saw Dark and Castillo go down. So he's able to fly back on through, the last player alive, able to make those trades to keep the team alive. They then just kind of hold that room downstairs. We see Scum and Unrational and Dongy trying to push on out, but just some great shots hitting with that Holger in hand from him here, rips them on up, and then they know that Destroy and them are playing on top, so we'll have to wait and see what was there. And okay, 20 eliminations, 40 points, Tiff. Definitely a good way to regain.
Okay, so far we're sitting at someone who takes a win is looking at north of 40 points. That is our benchmark. That brings them to an overall score of 58.2, which is just at that 29 average points per game, which in my opinion, if you're looking for that 150 point win condition, that threshold that we're looking to get you into the ability to win a next game and end our tournament, that is exactly where you need to be.
Definitely. I think we saw a lot of squads that made it towards that end game with a very solid number of eliminations. So I'll be curious to see how that leaderboard shakes on out. We are going to go to a very quick break. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at that leaderboard and be hopping in to game number 3. Don't go anywhere. We have plenty more Warzone coming your way as part of Warzone Total Frenzy.
I'm banging.
One on me, one.
Down. I gotta reload.
I want res.
C4. I'm ED. Dead. Later.
Wait. Knocked one. One got in already. One got in the gas station.
Okay.
High ping. Weak. 20. Other one's at the left corner. Left corner.
Dead.
Go to Tom. Yeah, go to Tom.
Let's use different teams to try to agree for something. If you can.
No, we're in zone too. Okay, you can play there. That's fine. One just squared. Down him.
I gotta reload.
One's in sky. Two in sky.
Keep floating. We'll be on last corner.
I'm playing out with water. One just landed in. Broken. Dead.
Guys, one on you guys left.
Broken. Dead. Jeez, what?
One shot in those right.
You can get one shot.
How far?
What are you using? Card? Yeah. Like 70-ish.
I'm gonna go third.
One's just knocking. Just dropped on outside. He swung out. One more. Come on.
Yeah, there was a team in main building.
I swear I heard somebody. Yeah, on me, Rob.
Yeah, I hear him.
One shot. There's two. I got one. Crack. One more here, live. Nice. Yo, get a full res. Res me.
Bleed, bro, bleed.
Acá atrás, yo estoy viendo acá atrás.
Estoy viendo con Dark,
Ok.
Ahí vienes ahí, Dark, las puedes poner. Ahí la tienes.
Solo hay una.
3 tienes más. Abre una puerta, Castillo. Van a querer entrar conmigo,
Yo estoy viendo atrás,
Uno más.
Nice.
¿Estás arriba?
Yeah.
Vamos por dos, puedo flanquear.
Dale.
Espero.
Ojalá más tranqui porque tengo una bengalita. Es que bueno.
Aquí 3.
Tirados dos.
Los se te tiró.
Queda uno.
¿Lo veo?
Dos, quedan dos.
On me, por aquí. Aquí está marcado.
Atrás, último.
No. Nice, good shit. Gracias por escuchar a mis calos. Good shit, boys. Good shit.
Hey, welcome back on everybody to Warzone Total Frenzy. If you're just joining us here, we are rocking ground loot only this week and has had 2 very exciting games, I might add. So as we get ready to head into game number 3, let's take a little bit of a look at our leaderboard, starting it off with our kill leaderboard from that second match here, Tiff. And well, when we look at the overall, a couple names I'm not surprised to see there at the top.
Definitely not. You think back to map number 1, it was gonna be that Nickel Colony 2K Watch Waldo roster that took the win and, well, currently still sitting at the top of the overall individual elimination leaderboard with 16. But Zdark, you know, Amir, Castillo, Zdark, they kind of took that win in map number 2 with a 20 eliminations, giving them 40 points. Of course, you're going to see their name on here. But for Bredman, Foreign Jace, 2 members of that C9 roster locking it in the top 10. Then you've got Huskers and Jackal from the same roster. So we're kind of spreading the love here, but there is a few names that are missing, Dandro, that I don't want to keep talking about, but I feel like we just need to take a brief mention because they're usually ever prevalent on this board.
Yeah, SSD, they are nowhere to be found on this board after our first 2 games. So I'm kind of curious what's going on with them. let's take a look at our overall leaderboard, because that'll probably let us know what is going on with them after these first 2 games as we look on it. And well, look who's at the top. Team Unrational. We saw them get towards that top 5. Obviously, map number 2 was good to them. As we see Team Amir, the team that did take that game, not too far behind them, but Team Nicole still holding it down in 3rd. But as I looked out through, okay, SSD, I think they were sitting in like 12th, 15th before, now currently in 8th, Tiff. So maybe while we're not seeing them on the overall elimination leaderboard, they're still making their way up our overall leaderboard.
Yeah, they're still working on getting things kind of locked in, and despite what we've seen after 2 matches, we're starting to taper back towards that, 25 to 30 point average per game that really gets you to where you need to be to allow you to bank a few matches and work towards winning to really stop the leaderboard after we get to obviously that Call of Duty Warzone match point. However, Nicole, I love that they're still in the top 3, but that map number 1 was worth 44 points for them. So the second game was only 8.4. But granted, if you're going to get something north of 40 points, it allows you to maybe have a lackluster performance in 1, but you need to bounce back in match number 3 to be able to carry on that momentum. Kind of rounding out that top 10, though, you've got Mutex, stablejay, Tommy's team just on the outskirts of it. And despite Team Destroy making it towards the end game, they're just outside the top 10 also. And the Fnatic roster, well, they're down there in 15th.
Yeah, not a great game for them, that is for sure. So as we kind of take a look at our leaderboard, we got some of our teams looking to kind of come online. Others, though, kind of starting to break away from the pack just a little bit. Nothing too crazy when it comes to our scores here. So I think it's those top teams, as long as they keep playing consistent, we'll be able to maintain their sort of throne at the top of our leaderboard. But I love that you kind of bring that up, Tiff, that we saw the Team Nick Cool specifically, right? Game number 1, they have this great 44-point game. Game number 2, they only score 8 points. This is a very kind of crucial game for them in game number 3, because if they have another game where you only get 8 or 10 points, we probably see them slide back into that 7th or 8th spot. Whereas if they can maintain to have, a really solid, at least 20-point game, you keep your name in contention. And when you are one of these top 3 teams, that's realistically what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep your name in contention, but it just kind of goes to show how volatile sometimes this leaderboard can be, right? Where you might be able to have a great game, you might have a lackluster game. All it takes is one game sometimes to sort of put your name in the conversation at the top.
It's very true. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to really think about what's going to get you to 150. And at this rate, since no one particular team has really had that standout performance where they've carved a points differential on our leaderboard, that there's a very good possibility that we're going to see multiple teams eclipsing 150 at the same time if we continue on this trajectory.
Yeah, and so I think as everybody kind of sticks alongside, it might be one of those scenarios where we see one team kind of cross it first, but only another team is only 20 or so points behind them, and then we could have 2 or 3 join them after the next game. I think if things kind of continue on this trend, we'll wait and see. But game 3 is usually, sometimes we see people start kind of to pick up the pace, right? And maybe this is a game that if we have a team like Team Falcons, maybe Team Aydan, one of these squads that we know can really slay out, if they drop a 50-point game, Tiff, oh, that kind of changes our conversation just a little bit. So game number 3 is definitely going to have me scratching my head to see what's there. Looks like everybody is finally on the same page about our perks, so you cannot hit a loadout for perks whatsoever. So you either have to use the ones you find on the ground, or you can go to a buy station and buy any of those kind of planned perk packages that are in there as well. So all of our competitors now fully up to date. Everybody understands this. Means that kind of moving forward, maybe things kind of shake on out a little bit easier. But speaking about some of these things, if got game number 3 ready to hop on in, so let's drop on in game number 3. Let's get it started. So we're going to be on board with our winners of match number 2.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it. I'd love to see where exactly they're landing in relation to Urzikstan, what our plane line is going to look like, what that circle is going to initially pop up. Now, friendly reminder, if you just joined us, the match number 1, right? We went all the way over towards the northwestern side where we had this like mass exodus out of Levin Resort. Then we kind of shored back on up for map number 2, but it looks like the Urzikstan is our complete oyster because it's a relatively central zone that encompasses all of the space.
Getting an idea, where does this squad want to land? What is the strategy as the plane is coming from that north to south side, and it looks like maybe potentially a stronghold on the map that maybe they're starting to make their way towards too. Not a bad thing. to grab. You won't be able to get the loadout from it, but you kind of get that consistent UAV around it if you wanted to, but it doesn't look like it so far. So they're going to drop a little bit short. It's some of these buildings, and I like this kind of a spot, right? You have all these sort of little small buildings that you might not think have a lot of kind of loot in them, but oftentimes they have a lot of these cash registers, which are definitely full of cash. As we move on over to FIFA Kill, Tiff, though, looks like maybe not the best start to it.
It's okay. Wars is here, flies on in just with about enough time left to get him back onto his feet. It looked like that was Juju and Jowo. So you can see Wars right after picking FIFA up, he gets into the building, grabs that initial knock onto Jowo. So there's likely multiple squads over near this condos area, but we're very much on that southern side of things.
DG in hand for FIFA Kill. If we can get to sort of a high ground and can start laser beaming people from above, would be feeling very good about that. We saw Joe get taken on out. He's going to fly across. Maybe try and get a line of sight on the rest of Cloud9.
Double the kid on the right. He's going up the stairs right now. He's in the staircase. The other guy's on this track right here.
Big comms there from Wars. Yeah, I'm like, this is great. You know, if my teammates calmed like this, maybe I would actually be kind of decent.
Excuse me. I take a little bit of offense to that.
Shots fired? No, you can give me every comm in the world, but sometimes I just don't listen.
Ooh, FIFA Kill. Great job. Some laser beams on the player above. Gonna reposition though. Maybe kind of go wide and...
I'm still up top.
Yes, I like this. This is a little trick for you if you're watching on how you can get to the top of these buildings and not have to push the stairs. Sometimes you can catch people off guard. As well, FIFA Kill wise up here. Somebody realized, I think he was making this jump though. The live ping comes on through, but I like this. If you're getting a little aggressive off of that, that player might be thinking you backed on up, but well, if you're FIFA Kill, you don't have to do that.
See, while we're kind of in this area, that SSD did get the black site yet again. For the second match in a row. However, we still need to find some angles to be able to protect Lennon, not let him burn his gulag just yet. It still seems like these stairs are going to be the main area of contention here for this building.
Oh, wow. Okay, it was looking solid. I like the positioning, but just all at once, they fly on out. We see them take down the last two remaining members. Absolutely insane. Well, it'll be a quick trip to the gulag for that EU squad as well. It's some EU on EU action. It's FIFA Kill versus Robstar in the gulag, and he loses it.
That is so very unfortunate, but elsewhere, we'll check in here. zeebutterz again, still on your screen, 33.4 points after 2 maps, rounding out just in the top 10. However, sitting north of that 16-point average per game, would love to see them kind of jump up. But mind you, still very new trio coming together in this Warzone Total Frenzy. You can see they've already got a bounty on them, so they have that information that's being sent out to other rosters.
Yes, sir, come on. What are we at? We are at 5. Yeah, we're on good pace right now.
Ooh, they're already on 5? The vibes here? You know, I'm not shocked considering Destroy's personality, so fair.
I love that. Gold chest pizza. Hey, listen, sometimes some of the comms are easier to say, right? You just call it a pizza. I feel like that's jarring enough that lets you know exactly what it is rather than flare. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you gotta do what works for you, okay? Let's pop the UAV. Nobody really kind of showing up just so far. Probably not enough to kind of have Ghost at this point, so probably can feel confident nobody really is around here. Back on board with C9. We watched them take down FIFA Kill Lennon in Wars earlier. We're seeing Chocolate get taken out from Jace.
Of course, they got the Moors in hand here for Bradman.
I think I'll keep the striker, no lie. I got 50 rounds in it.
Okay, cool.
I got a smoke and a Simtex.
We're just leaving this redacted SMG? What? Maybe it's not as good as we think it is.
Yeah, he's happy with this striker with 3 attachments. He's like, I feel good with this. It's got a 50-round mag, and sometimes it's just going to come down to what that mag size is even like.
I mean, yeah, I mean, for somebody like Bread too, you know, if you watch the moments that he's using the SMG, it's usually like, hey, I'm in smoke and I'm trying to fight that. And a lot of times for him, he's just trying to hip fire, right? And so maybe if you have those 50 bullets, he just feels like a little bit like, all right, cool, I could be maybe a little bit more accurate. I can kind of, you know, be able to take these fights a little bit better. And as I say that, immediately drops the gun I was just hyping up and really theorizing for a Superi. So at this point, why not go grab the redacted one?
You know, Dandro, sometimes you just make a little too much sense, but you just gotta let him live, let him fly. He's got the 2 attachment Superi now, and we are still making our way over here. But for the Fnatic roster, Noobs, Almond, Skullface, the majority of that backpack is going to be plates with 1 Gulag re-entry token, and preferably, it's not bad. You've got Foresight, you see where we're ending. We're going to be wrapping up things around pop-off power. So even though Fnatic likes to land here, loot, and kind of kick their games off, it's not like they're going to be terribly far away from that end game.
You get a UE yet too?
Yeah, you got to drop me a little bit of money though.
Yeah, I'm dropping you money,
Here, money right there.
Well, as we are here in the mid-game tiff, this is a squad that I'm really curious about what's kind of going through their head. Currently sitting at 15th place. Sort of a lackluster start to them. So let's go ahead. Let's go do a little bit of listening with Fnatic.
let's just go balloon. Let's go balloon with one of our UEs. Pop that shit. Skull. You pop yours.
Yep.
Gotta remember that this Kar 98K is like a one-shot to the head at certain range.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody like...
Most one just got grabbed.
Okay.
They got black sight though.
Yeah.
This is soak on them. They completed off the rip.
This kid's by himself.
Yeah, one's going all the way to top.
Teammates started just flying in.
Well, they're both there. They're both there. Both on my diamond.
Yeah, here, I'm popping.
One was first floor. They're both over there.
Okay. We can look for that left kid in a sec, if you want.
Yeah, he's shooting at me.
Yeah, challenge me lower. Bottom of the plate towards the left kid.
Rotating over, tagged him up a little bit.
He's still up top right here. Live ping.
I'm gonna try to get behind him.
Well, his teammates are backing up. Towards him. Or one like backed up a little right here.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Mortared.
He's still there.
To the right. One's to my right.
I got mortared and PA'd. I can't really peek right now. Skull.
They're smoking on my left or something.
I'm popping a counter.
I'm backing up a little bit.
Too.
Yeah.
One guy's to my far right. One's to my far right. Yeah.
That could be pushing up left.
Nothing working left. One's
far right.
Up right here. I can bomb drone this kid.
I'm trying to get.
You're trying to single me out.
He's going back to his teammate.
I'm getting up to
here.
I'm left. I'm deep left.
Heard that. Getting height.
Okay. PA. I gotta wait for this.
Lived him. I'm gonna get to you, Skull. I'm getting.
Yeah, 2 guys below me. Hit 1 armor. One's right below me. 100%.
I don't see the kid back here anymore. I don't know where this kid went.
Might have specialist.
Right here. Hold on, he's bottom floor. I'm gonna bomb him. He's right here.
Drop it down. Did you hit him?
Yeah, he backed up.
Went outer C4.
We can triple this.
They just bombed fucking. Did you hear that, Skull?
No.
They're gonna push.
Yeah, pushing my door.
Coming.
Two. I cracked one.
C4, hit 1 armor.
One more.
Looking for one.
South.
Far, I'm pretty sure.
I did.
Oh, close right.
I gotta play.
No armor. Got him.
There you go.
Nice.
So, come back in. Yes.
Come back in already. I'm trying to res.
Yeah.
Only fucking res is a loot.
Drop bottom.
Yep.
No armor.
Yep.
Got him.
Nice. I got.
Especially on my body.
Yeah.
Wow. I know that was probably a really long listen in, but I feel like we just gained so much of how this team wants to go ahead, takes this fight. They literally just flew at SSD, and with patience and some good comms, Tiff, they're able to eliminate them.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. And to see them kind of firing on all cylinders, we know what this squad is capable. We have seen them perform on land together. We know that they have the reps in. It's just these little mistakes that sometimes occur in their series. But I'm still waiting for a win on that Call of Duty Warzone match point format for this roster. And coming in after 2 maps, sitting at that 15-point average, so 31.2, this is the game that really needs to set them apart.
He just backed up. I just saw him parachute off the left building. He went back here. Was that blue ping?
One isn't though. One isn't.
Great jobs from that team. We'll leave them there to continue on through as we move on over to Picnic Oakboy and Ryda. Another player who I know is feeling good about having a sniper in hand. It's Ryda as we see him just absolutely decimate Swish out of the LTV. Makes it look like quick work. Goes ahead and backs on up though, but the fight is not over.
Definitely not. We're still getting mixy here. But a team that's in 20th place overall, if, like I said, similar to Fnatic, right? If you want to set yourself apart, it has to be this game. Do not let those players get that much closer to 150 points. However, Oakboy does get picked off, and Ryda and Picnic will still need to figure out, can we kind of get that reset as we climb up the stairways, looking for angles? We need high ground. We need info.
Hey, dude, you gotta tell me. I don't want to burn or smoke so anything on resin. Oh, front door. Go around here and get a selfie right here. Right there on yellow thing.
Right here.
He was second floor.
Good comms coming in from the team, letting him know, hey, you can go. If you want to grab a self, you can.
Second floor, huh?
You can't even hear Ryda saying, I don't want to have to burn smokes on just things like resin. Understanding that when you aren't able to grab your loadout, things like, you know, being able to have the C4 and smokes are huge, especially because you kind of have to wait to maybe grab a munitions box to grab more of them. So
Drop me your pokes right now. Here, take these.
Drop me your perks. Man, we have not seen perk cycling for a minute, but hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's what I've been looking at. I'm like, what kind of do we have here? We jump out on with Rated, playing alongside Bulieve and Attract today. Rated's locked in with Eagle Eye. You know, we've got Scavenger. We've got some different iterations of it. But what you do get is that restock, so you can constantly keep those smokes and C4s flowing. Now, when it comes to ground loot only, that lethal is so important. We've seen frags, we've seen semtexes, but these C4s, knowing how prevalent they are in competitive Warzone, if you can find them, you latch onto them and you don't give them up.
yeah, I mean, being able to hold on to, you know, a smoke or C4 and then having munitions boxes to get even more if you do need is just so nice. And then like we're seeing from Rated right here, you know, being able to have that resupply is just so clutch when you do have these types of things that are there. So totally agree. You love to have them. We are kind of seeing this pull in, you know, a little bit towards Popov, like we saw earlier when we looked at Foresight on the side of Fnatic. And well, Rated, he's made his way to the top of the bridge. You have a Kar 98 in hand. Can you manage to find any of these tags? But you get an armor shot. He gets it down, and that's on to Heeds. Fully eliminated. There's another one flying in from behind, though. Can he be able to follow it up? Only 5 bullets in the chamber, though. Has to take the opportunity to reload, but a fantastic snipe from Rated there.
I don't see anybody in melee.
I love how we're like playing just on the outskirts of the black site, right? That black site UAV that they get is the majority of this next circle. But you can see this is a roster that's not going to have Foresight, that is just going to be playing off that information that we can glean from the remainder of our teams, right? We're looking for those engagements. And if you're already finding yourself on 7 this early on with 23 squads up, this is a pace that I feel like would be very envious for other rosters.
Yeah, I mean, already sitting on 7, especially if it's been a 7 that you didn't have to like super work for, definitely going to feel pretty solid. On the other side of the map, though, Sage trying to stay alive here. You have the cash if you can manage to get to a buy station to get Swag and Adrian back on in, but for now, you're just kind of trying to grab everything you possibly can. You do find a Cat AMR, you find an armor box. Pretty solid, but you haven't found the one thing you need. Even a mobile buy station would be great. So far, none to be found.
I feel like everyone always has the mobile buy stations too. They're so loot heavy. Like they're everywhere, except when you absolutely need them. So you start looking, okay, well, where's a buy station that's going to be okay for me to grab? We're still on the outside looking in. That gulag's been closed or closing right now. And it's not like you have a gulag reentry token to even kind of make that play. And your bounty, well, it's just ahead of you inside that. So that threat level is going to consistently keep them in the know that you're mirroring their rotation.
Well, and I love what Sage does there. It kind of pulls out the bunker buster just to give him enough speed to kind of survive the gas, and then is able to drop it on insta. That way maybe that team doesn't look, but he just looks across with this cat AMR. He finds finesse and a free elimination. Can you find any more in the water? Some good shots. Sage, not one to be afraid to get mixy. Flies on in. That's Devo taking on down. Squad wipe.
Wow, all right. Look, if you want to be a solo warrior out there looking for a regain on Swag and Adrian, this is the kind of level that you have to clutch up, especially knowing that you came in only with 20.4 points. Job's not done. You want to get to that 150, and you're 130 points away. But going the distance, looking for a regain, finding that cash, especially when you have like so much money to work with. You can get UAVs, you can get bunker busters, mortars, whatever you want for that end game, plus your squad back.
Back on over at Fnatic, still playing on top of this building here at Popov Power. Don't have to do anything too crazy just yet. Speaking of that mobile buy station, they have one. You definitely go ahead and use that. Skull is just kind of holding this inside. I like this. I think sometimes players forget now that this whole inside area is now open. So if you're up here, it's not just here for free. It's not just kind of free real estate to hold it up top. You have to worry about somebody potentially zipping from the inside as well. So I love that they're kind of just trying to do their best to keep their eyes out. Skull with the ordnance in hand, maybe trying to lob a C4 down onto somebody. Isn't going to manage to land. We'll hit the munitions box though, replenish some of those C4s and smokes.
I just got mortared. I got mortared.
Yeah, I got knocked right here.
Not the mortar.
Yeah.
Still Bruins coming through. Seen a lot of PKMs, but they're good for the distance. They're good to keep that firepower down, and they just finish off Brolic right there. Skullface, however, only on 3 eliminations, but this position that they found themselves in can lead to a lot more.
We saw them take out SSD earlier. Feeling pretty good. The flare goes off below them. Skullface looks to the sky. A good live ping. Can you manage to find him? You can! That's Castillo ripped out of the air. Can the C4 manage to get you the confirm? It cannot. So you're able to get the down, but no confirmation just yet.
No, that's a recon right below us. Recon drone right on that portable buy.
Noob's able to find Otter. And for right now, I mean, if you are Fnatic, it is all about holding this high ground and kind of just keeping your head on a swivel. And it seems like that's exactly what they're doing.
Token's under me here. Yeah, guys PDSing far left too.
I see those smokes. Trying to get a combat scout on them.
Right here, yep. Hit one armor over here. Am I green?
Okay, do it. Look for the cleanup if you can. Would love to see more come from this, but with 10 seconds approximately left on that countdown before we have to start focusing on where we need to go deeper into that pop-off power area. And with 17 teams still up, this is going to be highly populated with all these random little crevices of power that are going to have people in them.
I think that's what you have to be worried about. You don't want to try and fly off this building or try and maybe grab a better piece of positioning and just have somebody hanging out in a corner. Gonna be the one kind of being able to light you up from behind. Not a great opportunity. It looks like Castillo was able to get back on up. We can see Amir and Dark able to kind of keep it on board. Currently sitting in second place rather, off of that 20 elimination game number 2, which netted them 40 points. Would love to have a banger game number 3. Even go back to back, Tiff, would be huge.
It would be. It was a 40-point game in map number 2. 18.2 for map 1. It's been pretty stellar if we're going to keep continuing on. But a lot of their eliminations, mind you, they came towards that very end. This was the exact start of match 2. When you see that mini-map in the upper left-hand corner and that UAV come through with bird's eye and just how many people are surrounded. You even have a 3-stack in the building kind of anchored down left of them. We don't have any more C4s. And how do we hit this? You know you're getting mirrored. We have to have someone watch our back at all times.
I kind of love this though. Look where they're positioning. They understand that, hey, there's somebody behind us in this gas still. We can potentially kind of play for the rest of these teams. SVA in hand from Amir, or even seeing this thing used in a competitive sense lately. So you find this, you throw it on single tap, you are feeling good, especially in the hands of somebody like Amir. They just want to be able to try and maybe figure out some of these. Somebody flies on him from behind. That's flanked, immediately deleted off of the map. They're trying to just keep it alive. Smoke's going on out, providing them cover, as it is just explosions over the top of them, trying to be able to get into zone. They have to remember though, Tiff, there are, I believe, 2 teams in front of them here. You have to stay alive.
Ooh, that'll do it. That'll get another squad wipe. That'll bring you up to 1 more elimination, almost moving into that next multiplier. If we could just survive till top 10, like you said, with that circle pull goes. The reaction time was a little slow on that one, so that's quite unfortunate. And Jowo, C9 on the opposing side, but look who's alive. Look who's in endgame. Dandro, Shifty, Soka, Biffle, looking to regain their dominant position.
Well, Fonzie does get eliminated. That's another squad wipe. Top 10 secured. Biffle currently sitting only on 2 though, Tiff. So I hope the others have managed to find some more, as you're starting to see some of the shots come on through. Kill will get confirmed. Biffle trying to be able to go through, maybe play a little bit of cleanup, dropping the smokes on top. And that's a specialist that Biffle just goes ahead and picks up. That is huge. You can see they're trying to move their way through. They do find Aydan just out in the open. Top 4 now, so they've secured at least a 1.8. Well, look who's still alive, though, Tim. It's their arch nemesis. It is Fnatic. Sin tries to fly on top of Skull. Does not let that happen. Plates coming back on through. Fear Skull trying to fire out into the gas. He's going on through. Finds Prospect and Little Mario. Another squad wipe, but he gets eliminated. Oh, this is coming down to the wire.
And that's a full wrap. It's SSD. It's Falcons versus the remaining duo from Fnatic. They know where they are. And ground loot, sometimes you just got to break out the RPG and full send the fence line.
And you can see a PA comes in up over the top of them, taking up basically the entirety of the remaining parts of zone. Shifty goes down, though. He was able to find Noob, so at least you're kind of able to even this up. Flies on top, move on forward. They find Skullface. That means Allman is the last one alive on this wall. Flies on forward. Soka gets taken on out, though. It doesn't matter. Biffle comes across. We'll be able to clean that one on up. You get the flare in the air, but there's still one more player. They're able to come back on in. Doesn't really matter. Shifty lands on Noobs. You're cleaning it on up. 17. Okay, SSD finally comes online.
I cracked him. I was kind of just gonna hold that top roof, but because if he said play him, so I was like, okay, then like
34 points for that match win. I thought we were about to see a flare off, but unfortunately it does not happen. Although the Falcons do get one off, and then Fnatic, they get one. It just came down to that 2v1 in favor of Team Falcons, and honestly bringing back another member of Fnatic kind of allows the Team Falcons to grab another elimination that there goes on to be worth 2. So to bring them to 34, which is massive. That's a good way to get back into the swing of things. You can see kind of in that leaderboard area, they walk away with a 34 points that brings them to 68.6. Now, that's just over about a 22-point average per game, which means we're starting to correct a lot that we saw in those first 2 maps.
Yeah, the thing here is, Tiff, is that we have one team, after 3 games that are just barely under halfway. That tells me there's got to be some of these squads that are now over our halfway point. But hey, huge shout out to SSD. That is a huge game you need, literally doubling your score that you had. As of right now, it kind of puts them in 3rd. We'll have to wait for the rest of the leaderboard to kind of come on through to see, do they hold that position? But either way, we know that this is a very snowball. This is a very momentum-heavy based team. Probably took them a couple games to really kind of figure out how is this lobby going to play? What is the strategy that we want to go ahead and use? And it feels like maybe it took until game 3 for them to really kind of figure out how they wanted to play it. So comes to fruition. It looks great, but hey, we got to talk about that team in second, though. Team Fnatic, they don't clutch it up. That's A-okay, though. You're in second. I think they had a decent amount of eliminations. I think we could see them at the top of the leaderboard as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you just take it back just a couple of moments before that initial end game fight, is they were just clearing out everyone. You were seeing squad wipe here, squad wipe there. So you know they're picking up the elims from that. My only question is how many were they able to walk away with at the end of it and use that 1.8 multiplier to kind of keep them going up the leaderboard? Because you said it, right? You were like, yes, we do see SSD, Team Falcons, whatever you want to call them, on that 68.6 threshold after 3. But if you think back to after map 2, we had Unrational squad sitting at 59.4. So
True.
pretty much 60 themselves. So if they have another good game and kind of keep that momentum up, we could see teams go onto that Call of Duty Warzone match point after maps 4 and 5.
I mean, I would love to see it. I think it's going to really come down to, will one of these teams at the top kind of take another game? If not, if it's a brand new team that's kind of down there towards that 7th or 8th position that is able to take a game with, you know, solidly anywhere between 17 to maybe 25 eliminations, you know, if that kind of cycle keeps on happening, it'll kind of just be another team kind of joining the fray at the top, right? Every single time. So I do kind of hope we see one of these teams that has been towards the top maybe clutch up here in a game number 4, because I would love to go ahead and see, you know, us have at least one squad get there. But I know you and I are both locked in for plenty of games here today. Would love to see kind of 4 or 5 teams there on Call of Duty Warzone match point, all trying to battle it out to see who will come out on top. That would definitely be something special as well. So a lot of good moments in that game, Tiff. Kind of to walk me through, what was a moment that really kind of stuck out to you in that game number 3 that was pretty memorable? Because I think we saw a couple of different teams really making some fantastic moves around the map.
It's quite interesting that we're constantly seeing Cloud9 on the other side, right?
True.
They're always taking down some of the people that were spectating, which means they're got to be getting a ton of these eliminations. And aside from that, when we got to see Rated playing alongside Attract and Bulieve today, right? You got to see Rated sitting on 7 about midway through with a relatively healthy lobby. Now, I'm not sure what their rotation looked like towards that end game and if they were able to get into a staple position into power. But if you're sitting on that many eliminations at the halfway mark, then you've had to have had at least a relatively decent game. So those kind of 2 moments and 2 teams in particular stood out to me.
I love that you called that out. Rated catching, I believe it was Heed, sort of on a cross there, hits the body shot, follows it up with one more, able to get the knock. We kind of hear them even talking about like, hey guys, we need to remember that this Car 98 is a one-shot headshot at certain ranges. For me, it had to be when Fnatic made that play on over to Pop-Up and to fight underneath that black site to take down SSD. I think that that was just shows a really, really strong display of confidence. And we heard some great communication come on through that squad in order to kind of execute and make that happen. It's those signs of life that have me hopeful, Tiff, that maybe we finally will have a team that can hold a candle to this Team Falcons squad. I think that they're really kind of coming online. Obviously, we got to talk about it. A little heartbroken that this Fnatic squad did not make it to the World Series of Warzone. But that does not mean they cannot continue to be a force to be reckoned with, especially in events like this, like the Warzone Total Frenzy.
They are one of the biggest rosters that are not going to be on that. And I feel like that's one of those things where I almost just want to I'm not gonna have a tier or anything, but it's like you want them to be there, right? They are in every right, are so talented, so skilled. But what you have to do, knowing that is what occurred, is you just have to full send everything. Do not ever let that happen again.
You know, I love that you bring it up. Well, let's take a look at our overall kill leaderboard, though, to see how are some of these squads faring as we look at it. Well, look who's at the top there. We got ZDark with 28, leading the pack by a substantial margin. Not too far away, though. Hey, M&K on top, ladies and gentlemen. We got Breadman and Nick Cool not too far away either. Noobs also tying them at the top currently with 19. So love what we're kind of seeing here. But after that, you got Scummin with 16, Aiden with 16, Colors with 16, Doggy with 15, Shifty 14, Puro Jackal with 14 as well. So not too far bad across some of the other kills. But let's take a look at our leaderboard, though, Tiff. When it comes to the teams, see, where are we looking after 3 games?
Amir, 86.2. You were right. You were saying that we were going to have teams eclipse that halfway mark. And if we're sitting at 86.2 for Amir, this is starting to see that points gap that we were talking about. Skullface and Breadman and Unrational, even with Team Biffle kind of increasingly jumping up the leaderboard, right? We saw them outside the top 10, then we saw them in 8th. Now they've broken into the top 5, and they're just within striking distance of that top slot, but only 16 points separating Team Amir from the remainders of the top 5. That's going to be tough to try and keep that locked in, but as long as they keep themselves into the top 5 with that 1.8x multiplier, they should be able to maintain a good pace.
No, and I love it. You kind of mentioned it, right? We're kind of always seeing Breadman and then be in the mix, taking down some of our players through their POV. Team Fnatic, Team Skullface, they're doing a great job. Kind of feels like they've come online. This 2nd through 5th is really, really fun to me, Tiff, because this is kind of where it's like, okay, if any of these squads have a big game, all of a sudden now we have a couple of teams who could be flirting with Call of Duty Warzone match point. Amir, if you're them, hey, just keep doing what you're doing, right? Sure, it's only a 16-point lead that you have over Team Skullface, but if you manage to keep that and keep playing well, keep making it to those end games, you're going to be finding yourself, in a pretty position that is there. So who knows, though, Tiff? It could be a map that one of these top teams has an absolutely banger game and kind of threatens to put themselves on win condition that maybe can have us rethinking everything. So not too bad over these first 3 games. We can kind of see, of course, there is that drop off a little bit kind of after Team Nick Cool, where we get down to like Aydan, Superevan, Brax, gabekun, zcastillo, down to Huskers, right? It's kind of your next chunk of group that potentially kind of vying for, I can't even say vying for 3rd because they're the next group of people and they're sitting around like 7th or 8th down on the leaderboard. So hopefully they can have a great game, maybe kind of jettison themselves back up to the top, maybe in that top 5.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think, because obviously you've had the Pulse Check Palooza quite recently, and we had multiple teams that did break through that 150-point threshold, that we got a good series of it. So now that we're like removing the loadouts, we're making it ground loot only, do we kind of get something very similar to that here for Warzone Total Frenzy? Will we kind of see that whole threshold that we've got in our top 5 maybe reach that all in one game, and then we go in and we're like, all right, cool, we've got 5 teams that have met the win condition, and that's gonna be crazy.
It's very possible, just given the trend that we have here. Even if it is only one team crosses it first, it's only going to be a game, maybe 2, until a lot of other teams kind of join them up there on that Call of Duty Warzone match point. So if you are a top squad and you have a banger game, hey, try to go back to back down on having really, really fantastic games, because I think if you can be the first team to cross the finish line with a decent lead, you set yourself up for, I think, a really good shot of potentially just ending the tournament early. Because if you don't, well, you're going to have a lot of people knocking on your door trying to clutch this one on up. We are through 3 games, friends. Game number 1, of course, going to Team Nick Cool. Game number 2 going to Team Amir. Game number 3 going to Team SSD. Tiff, I know our job is hard, but if I had to ask you for a prediction on who you think will take game number 4, who are you putting out there?
Game number 4, okay, so all right, based off facts here. If SSD typically boasts that 50% win rate, right? And we've seen 3 matches thus far, it would make sense for them to hit a back-to-back if we're looking at pure stats. But for me, I kind of want to throw something different. I think Unrational Scum and Dongy are going to hit a win. Like, they've been looking pretty good. It's either going to be them or it's going to be Cloud9 netting themselves a win, but I'm going to lean towards Unrational for this one. How about you?
I think I'm going Fnatic. I'm going to keep talking about it. That play where they just full send SSD and break them down is really, really nice. We have not seen a team really be able to do that, I feel like, in this sort of season of competitive Warzone. So I love that. And I think if they have a lot of confidence, hopefully coming out of that game, and they just do something similar yet again, sure, they came in second. That's a little unfortunate, right? But just make that happen every single game, and you're feeling pretty solid, right? So I don't know. I like to see them kind of clutch on up, maybe potentially also take this game number 4, because that could be really, really solid. Being told, Tiff, we are in the pre-game lobby. So lobby number 4, not too far away from coming online. Let's talk a little bit here as we kind of get ready to move on in. We have a couple of teams, and maybe we can bring up the leaderboard to talk about them again. Who knows? A couple of teams that have yet to really kind of make anything happen here today, Tiff. As we look towards maybe that right side, maybe that middle column, who are you surprised to see in those positions?
Okay. So, enkeo, 100%. Team enkeo. That Omit EU squad, when they are essentially, like you said, firing on all cylinders, this is the squad that very well could easily be in the top 8 right now. And I'm kind of shell shocked that they're not, but not only that, but they're sitting there with 16 points. So something is going dramatically wrong in their early game, or their rotations are just being kind of like cut short. Something is happening where they're not able to make it to the end game and kind of fry like we know they can. For Team Tommy being there in the 15th place mark, you know, 41.6 points, it sounds bad, but when you look at even like 10th place being only like 7.4 points ahead of them, it's only a matter of time that a few eliminations kind of separate. So I don't personally think that's bad. Team Careless Kitty, right? Playing alongside T and Echo. It's tough when you are captain week in and week out and you kind of bring in a different duo every single time. It's very much that same kind of motto that Swish'em and Smixy have, that same kind of problem that they have to deal with. However, I actually really like the roster of Careless Kitty, T, and Echo, and I was curious if they would perform a lot better, but 29.2 points after 3 matches, still not too bad, but we need to pick up that pace if you do want to hit 150.
Yeah, looking at Mutex, Swag, Destroy, and FIFA as well, a little bit down there on the leaderboard. A bit of a surprise to see some of those mainstays of competitive Warzone. And we've even seen kind of across these 3 maps, some moments of greatness from all of those squads as well. Just seemingly, you know, you're able to find as many eliminations maybe you normally would like, or you're making it to those end games, you're getting the multiplier, but maybe not with the eliminations that you like to have. So hopefully a little bit of a course correction for some of those teams as well. I would love to be able to see that. But match number 4 is ready to get started here. You drop on in with the boys. Looks like we have a zone that's blown a little bit more towards the east, but a plane line that is for sure helping them.
Oh, that's kind of an ugly plane line, but I love that we're kind of kicking it off here with the Falcons, aka Team Biffle, aka SSD, whatever it is, maybe the most winningest Call of Duty Warzone match point squads, but they call Pop-Off Power home. It's going to make very much sense that they're going to all drop on in.
I like this too. Look, you're seeing, I believe, Soka. I'm trying to think. I think Soka's bottom left. Just immediately fly on in towards that most wanted. Go ahead, grab, pick it up, and you got Biffle kind of laying in wait, kind of watching in the sky, trying to see who's going to land near here. He's able to get in some good shots at range with the pistol. He hits the crate that's right next to him, grabs the bow, and has a player one shot. But somebody else just threw a little bit of a shoulder. Biffle knows that they are here. Potentially could start going on the hunt.
Threw a fucking dart at me, bro. Fuck.
He threw a dart at them, and they're already running. Look, sometimes if you land, you hit a couple crates, you're like, I'm not finding anything good weapons. I don't want to get full sung by a 3-stack. And, well, Biffle jumps on in, finds Teeny, which means it's Tommy, Obs, Teeny, Challenge, Power.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the play you want to be making. Very easy fight for those 3. A very quick 3 eliminations added to their scoreboard. And it looks like a live thing coming on through. You can see an LTV on the mini-map trying to make some moves, and Biffle is just already flying on over, trying to be able to find a good angle. And, well, he has the bow in hand. You're getting some good shots. Hasn't been able to reload, though. Whole player did get out of this vehicle, Tiff. They're looking like they want to try and take this fight. Looks like a fight up here on the top, but oh my gosh, the laser beams comes on in. I think this player did get shot from a different angle, though.
You've got people from the industrial side. You have people out towards his like current northwest that had a most wanted, but you've got the comms coming in that say, I want to play from this bunker, which is very typical. You think back to the prior 2 matches that SSD has been a part of, right? And they've found the black site early on, and oh my God, a 25 gifted bomb. I'm pretty sure that if we just stay on Biffle's POV this tournament, we will just farm him good luck in terms of those things.
Yeah, that's a very intense animation. Shout out to whoever did that. It looks sick.
Quite generous.
Quite generous. Gabekun flanked in blast. We're seeing Gabe come back on in. No eliminations yet. They do have this cache building marked, so love to be able to grab some of these. You got to go ahead and find that chest, though. Get all of this cash if you do want it in your back pocket. There you go. Eyes the white chest.
Here, I have a medic right here. Ammo box right here.
I'm just trying to loot up. A little bit of a slower pace.
Smokes and shit or no?
Yeah. I need to smoke.
I'm leaving my smoke. I'm leaving my smoke on the mini. You guys can juggle that to each other.
Oh, perfect. Play a little hot potato with the smokes. Perfect. As long as you can kind of get that set in. We don't have resupply here, but it's fine. Mountaineer. Bit of pan. I just love kind of looking at the perks and just seeing what people are able to find and what they end up trading out for. But this is your squad currently in first place, 86.2 points after 3 maps. A pace that has just been so phenomenal, with Dark being that overall elimination leader.
Just have to go ahead and try and confirm it. It kind of goes to shows when you have Dark being able to find these eliminations, why you're able to be top of the leaderboard. Dark will go down though after Watch Waldo gets taken on out. The Cell Revive coming on through. Can they manage to maybe go over and help out? It doesn't look like, as I think Dark is on the other side here. So for now though, kind of drop in some of the ordnance on top, try and fly on through. They'll take some damage, but Amir trying to be able to grab height, maybe can help out the teammates.
For now, Patience drops on out. I'm pretty sure I just saw a body hit the floor from the roof. Down they go, unless that was a crazy dolphin dive. Regardless, Castillo finds a knock and full onto Nickel, so we're starting to knock that player advantage into our favor. Unable to quite get the angles that he's wanting for, but he's definitely checking all the crevices as we kind of get on over. There goes Colony 2K, so we just need to find the remainder.
I do believe that probably we're pretty early on that there were some gulags used, so Waldo was the first taken on out. Would not be surprised that, you know, if they did get sent to the gulag, that they did win it and are probably just floating in the air trying to figure out where do they want to land coming back on in. But some aggressive plays coming out from Amir, Castillo, and Z-Dark, showing why they are top of the leaderboard so far. Playing over here down towards that city area. We'll see where they continue to move on through. Other side of the map, though, we got Huskers, Gromalokk, and Jackal. Currently sitting in 12th, so a big game would be great for them, not only for their place on the scoreboard, but also for morale. Huskers, a great tag. And you follow it up, though.
Outside.
Coming.
Let's hope so, but it gave them the opening to be able to close that gap. There goes little Mario. We've got a cluster mine in hand, but knowing that we don't get the alert on the screen, still smart that Huskers was able to give the comms, like, hey, there's a PA incoming. Let's go ahead, redeploy. Let's focus on our rotation and maybe take things from a different angle.
PDS happening here on the edge of zone. Husker sees this happening. Trying to shoot from in zone, and the shots are there, but I don't know what just happened. Just absolutely eliminated. Huskers knocked. Will the res come on in? Jackal trying to look from above. Smoke will come on through, and it does look like Brolic finds prospect, so good enough. Thankfully, Huskers, you got that unlimited tack sprint. You're going to try to move her throughout the map. I mean, look how fast you move with this thing, Tiff. Just put it in the game. Give it to everyone. Let me sprint around the map like a madman, please.
Oh, yeah, just let me car 98, sprint like crazy, and just feel like I'm an absolute menace to society. But for now, we do have a while to go on this rotation. Gas about to start incoming. Good comms there. As soon as you double back, you can see there's a buyback in the distance. But for now, we're just going to make sure that we are kitted for the mid game.
UAV pinging on out. Nobody popping up just yet. Where's the Bazaar, though? A team that haven't really seen a lot of, but it's kind of hanging on by a thread here, Tiff. Aydan, Smith, and DJ. We've caught them in the end game a couple of times. We haven't really seen them do anything super crazy. 51.6 points to their name. It kind of leaves them right outside the contention. You drop a really solid game, you might kind of start getting yourself in that spot where you can start flirting with the idea of getting into that Call of Duty Warzone match point, but it's not going to be easy with some of these squads that we have in the lobby.
Edge zone. You see this fucking Duke? Wait, is he floating? I think he's on the hill. No, he's on the hill here. One guy here.
Is he on the hill? Are we about to destroy him? Are we going for it?
I bet. Well,
Got the live ping. Maybe we take the roof of this building and play the off angle. Okay, looks like this is going to be the way to do it. But we've got decent ground loot weapons already thrown down. We got the PDS. We got a UAV. We are ready to make some moves at farms.
Yeah, I like this. Aydan has this UAV in hand, trying to maybe get to an angle that can take this fight and not really expose himself a little bit too much. You can see this player has backed up to the rest of their team. Aydan not wanting to get too aggro, but look, somebody has trailed from behind. Somehow they did not show up on the UAV before, but here they are. Somehow, a little bit of patience. Aydan's able to reset, but a whole team is here. You can see, I think these two squads are about to fight. So if you are Aydan, get out of dodge, maybe take a different angle. Hopefully you can clean up both of these teams fighting.
Get it? Get it? Let that Holger rip, and there it goes. Juju knocked out of the heli. There comes the full. Still only on 2 eliminations, but there's plenty of opportunities just ahead.
Oh, good shots. And this player trying to play a little bit of a heady. You can see Z-Smith has come on over to try and help out. DJ's not too far away either. A little bit of a pinch coming on us. I think there's even another team at the buy station. Aydan doesn't want to commit just yet. You grab the Bertha. You start maneuvering on through. Somebody just hit that redeploy.
Is he hitting the zip? Yeah, he's back on me. Yeah, he is. He fell low.
Ooh, I like this.
Okay.
Is it one? I'm up.
Down to the bunker they go.
Yeah, he mortared himself.
Pops the UAV. At least they're going to mortar for the outskirts, but that's just so tough to deny them any chance to kind of close that distance and maybe keep that fight moving on. But this is one of those squads, right? Kind of just inside the top 10, but very capable of putting up that 30 to 40 plus point game. Just a matter of time. Now, granted, like I said, second place in a tournament already this week, looking to carry that momentum forward.
And Aydan's just gonna commit to it. I like this, but as he lands, oh my gosh, I believe there was a cluster mine at the bottom, and yeah, you're not able to stay alive. Natedogg, seeing that you get the confirmation of the down, you fly back on through, you get the cleanup, a very easy elimination. Unfortunate for Aydan there to just kind of try to drop on through, maybe play a little aggressive. And there's just a cluster mine waiting for you at the bottom.
Yeah, that's just a trap that you really don't anticipate having. Now, granted, most of our competitors are used to playing in that World Series of Warzone playlist, right? Where some of those things just aren't going to be in play. But anytime they are, people are constantly grabbing them and setting people up. For Cloud9, though, we're constantly seeing them take down a ton of teams from our POVs that we've been witnessing. But now we get to kind of hang out and see them yet again. Think back to that map one where you saw that Kotovo Blocks-esque ending all the way in the north. They operated with the foresight and played on that position. But now that we're very far outside that circle, we're kind of bouncing around looking for annihilation.
Some good shots onto that player, just unfortunately couldn't connect any. I was a little surprised Joe didn't get it down with that, but that's okay. A whole other Humvee kind of rolls by at their backs. They immediately kind of whip around and take a look at it and say, oh, okay, see you later, guys. Trying to make sure that maybe they didn't stop early and are just going to try and hold them. It doesn't look like it. Try to get into zone. 27 squads still up here, Tiff, as we're kind of getting towards a little bit of the end of zone number 3. Only missing 3 squads total, I think. There's something we gotta
very
hold on
healthy
to.
lobby.
Yeah.
We started with 29. That's kind of what drops in at the very beginning. So yeah, technically 4 gone, 70 plus players up. So this is solid. If we want to start farming those eliminations and let them get repopulated back up with flares or buybacks, keep it moving. I want that 50-point game that you were talking about.
On board. Smixy, Renzo, and Zach. Smixy wins the award here at Total Frenzy. I think it's literally played almost every week she's been invited with a different duo, which is
not wrong.
Insane to me. I love that. Recently, kind of herself decided to say, hey, you know, I think I'm stepping a little bit of away from competitive, but, you know, still want to play these fun tournaments that she gets invited to like these. And I think when you're able to do that, you invite maybe some new people you want to play with. Not a bad idea. Currently sitting in 29th place, though, so maybe the pickups haven't gone exactly how they wanted, but this could also be potentially a reason why. They make it into a building, and it's an immediate bunker buster on top of their dome as they try and make their way on out, and just, oh my gosh, the shots are in. Smixy gets lasered by Aydan and Z-Smith. We know they love to play around here at the Bazaar here, Tiff, and well, finding a couple more eliminations left and right.
Well, Smixy finds herself in the gulag. They're sitting on 3 eliminations. Now, granted, we're only into that 1.2x multiplier, so still very low down in multipliers to say, but you got Clutch Belk on the other side, and as we cut to his POV, we see the cleanup 10 eliminations, and wow.
I mean, 10 eliminations feels really good for the pace of this lobby so far, but you even see as Clutch comes back on into the sky, well, Both teammates finding themselves in the gulag. So gotta play a regain if you are team Clutch Belk. Back on board with our first place squad here, though. You can see they are a little bit outside of zone, so they're trying to figure out how do we want to play through this. Looks like maybe alongside this riverbed could be the way to go, but smoke's in front of them. Could be a team that's looking to gatekeep.
I mean, look, whatever they've been doing, even though they're approaching kind of from this southern area, it's been working. If we have 86.2 points after 3 matches, that's insane. And it's all kind of off the back of that map 2 40-point game, which was half of their points. And if they can find a ton of eliminations here, kind of like you said, play this outer edge, battle their way in, it's on dark, right? Every time we're on Amir, we're sitting at like 2 to 7 eliminations, and I'm like, oh, they really don't have too many, right? It's a good number. But then you have Dark, who has just put up the overall individual kill leaderboard and has just been holding that top slot. Dude is simply on one today.
Dark do be shooting different, which is funny because you ever see these 3 in real life, you would not expect Dark to be the one that is just a one who fries. Our good friend Enigma got a chance to interview them, and it's just Dark is just like the nicest person ever. It was so fun to kind of watch that interaction happen, and he's just like so nice that we get on the map and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is absolutely ruthless. He's just flying at everything, getting eliminations, and you got Amir and Castillo who are just there to hype him up and try and position for the rest of the day. Look at this. I don't know who this is, but you're trying to get out of dodge. Some damage coming down on in over the top, and well, I like this. They don't hardcore commit to trying just to get that one singular elimination. They drop the smoke stick. They're looking to get a little aggressive.
Ooh, definitely is. And you see the bunker buster kind of going through, down and out. Maybe they can infiltrate and filter them on out through the back. You got Amir kind of watching this angle towards the left, but still not able to find any direct knocks just yet. C4s for a little more investigation purposes, but Castillo, he takes some damage, but look what comes straight towards them, a cluster mine.
A little bit of a frisbee throw there is Amir. I like this. He tries to go through. He flies out the back, and he's able to find Breadman, a sliver of HP to stay alive. Oh my gosh. Somehow Amir doesn't call him the magician because, oh my gosh.
Brother just did not walk on water. He walked on mines and still made it work. But Cloud9 already bringing back the squad back in. See, you have to know that if you take one down, the chances of a flare going off and already repopulating that squad back to full numbers can occur. But we've got coverage for now, but our rotation still has to come through.
Yeah, this other thing has me a little bit worried, but they do have this sort of cliff face to their left there. If they want to kind of play this through the river, they definitely could. You don't have to commit to this fight on Cloud9 above you. You can just figure out how you want to play through. And, well, to get a little bit of a POV of Cloud9, look, they're still just in this house, not even looking. Down at Amir and Co, they're looking a little bit even deeper at a squad that's there. Joa with Cat AMR in hand. Not able to really connect with anything. Smokes will kind of start their rotation. This could be bad if you are Amir, Castillo, and Zdark, because C9, you've now been able to make your way into zone. You could be able to play a little bit of a spoiler.
See, that's what I was very much worried about, is this roster in particular. They're so good at kind of gatekeeping, and as soon as we tune onto their PC, or their POV, Breadman takes down Castillo. So now Amir and Zdark are going to have to make a play and hopefully get the homies back.
Quick thinking allows C9 to grab their spot. Joe kind of head on a swivel, just trying to gain an idea of where there are people around him. Oh, he spots one. If he was just a little bit more patient, that could have been such an easy elimination. Well, look at this. A couple of cars coming on through. Joe cooks the nade, and ooh, somebody hops on out. He's able to get the armor crack. Jace does find oekiy. It's Bubble and eBay. It's got to be around here somewhere as he spots somebody across. It's the wall bang. There's an armor crack, but yet again, still no eliminations for Joe.
This is wild that we're just like sitting on the one that we've had. But this is a good position. We've got a building and so many people keep on flying back in. We're looking for the tracks. Honestly, this is probably a good time to crank up a listen in because that gas is about to come on in and they're in a solid position.
guys are good at it. Smoking towards us?
Are they? I'm checking recon. No, there's 2 in here still. They're opening the door. That guy just grabbed his shit back. It's oekiy. That guy's looking out his door.
Bottom bridge too. Go.
You
guys should jailbreak. You guys should go to the roof.
Okay.
I have ticks here too. I can play this out. I'm top. Yep.
We got this row up for late. Right there on blue. Okay?
Okay.
That's our row up for late. This guy just pushed up to us. What the hell? Broken one shot.
Upstairs. Yep. Good job.
Nice. Should be another.
To the safe zone. Enemy
Get up to the roof. Get up to the roof.
I'm playing the second leg. We'll have loads of guys flying in.
That guy went up top right there.
They're alive.
Down them.
Oh my gosh! Normally these jailbreaks are banned, but guess what, folks? Today they are in play as we are seeing so many people dive on in. This squad has their sights turned towards the skies. Unfortunately, when you have a sniper in hand, it can sometimes be hard to bring them on down. Opting for the rotation as I feel like I'm watching a horde of black flies just move around the map like a plague.
Yeah, and they are honestly just working and focusing on the rotation. Someone lights up a counter UAV, but Biffle goes down at the hands of Joe. We lose out on Breadman. Does have that self, but unfortunately gets fooled. Soka enacting that vengeance. If you're going to take one of theirs, they're going to try to take all of you. And Jace trying to anchor down from wherever he has found himself, but there's just too many people to deal with.
Jay's trying to stay alive. You can't manage to do it. Fnatic playing down below. Joe was able to find a flare, though, to get Breadman back on in. The zone still moving on through. Joe, no gas mask or PDS at all. Has to think about how he wants to play this. Can he maybe trail in from behind somebody? Well, he's going to be able to find one. At least gets an elimination before getting taken out. A bunker buster brings down Biffle again. He finds another member of Fnatic. Looks like it was Skullface as oekiy slides on out. We'll go ahead and finish them on up. As this lobby went from being pretty clean at the end to just absolute insanity.
Enkeo heeds gromalokk. We were asking, where have you guys been the first few matches? But now things starting to light up. Enkeo on 8, finding themselves inside the greenhouse. That gas is going to close out one of the entries here. Still enough to play for that wrap that we could potentially see from a squad. Information is all towards their left, all behind them. And Castillo is found by gromalokk. They look to make the push. Wow. There it goes. The squad wipe onto the top Teemo leaderboard.
I'll get them into the top 10. That is what you like to see if you are this French squad. Currently sitting in the 29th place. Not a great job so far today. We were wondering when they were going to kind of come online. Game number 4 could be it. gromalokk has been fully eliminated, though, at the hands of natedogg. Zone kind of pulling completely away from them. Enkeo, you got to do something here, bud. Otherwise, you are going to get knocked and just barely on the outside. Keeds finds Noobs, but I don't know if it's going to matter.
Doesn't matter. We're into the top 5. So for Mutex squad, they'll get that 1.8x multiplier. Self-res with ease, but you can just see everyone fighting towards that end game. Numbers are dwindling, and we look to make a play, but unfortunately do not get out of the gas. Dongy, Scummin, Irrational squad still in it, in a 2v2. There it goes, and did I just predict a victory? Did we see an 80-point game? What are we watching?
Not only did you predict it, Tiff, we just saw an 80-point game. They were sitting in 4th place, Tiff. They had 70.2 points. With that game, they have just crossed our win condition. They crossed 150 points in one game within 4.
Is this the biggest game we have ever seen on Warzone Total Frenzy? I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is. Holy. Not only do they, basically get more than half of the points needed in one game, but it is to put them on Call of Duty Warzone match point eligible. What an insane game. 16 from Scum and 13 from Donkey, 11 to Unrational. I would love to go back and watch that VOD from their POV because they just must have had the ultimate position to just fry out that jailbreak. That's all I can imagine what happened, Tiff.
Oh, you're right. They probably turned to the skies, didn't have snipers, but just let it rip. But to hit 150.2 after that game, that is one that you're right. We need to go back. We VOD review that for days. And you're welcome, Gary. You're welcome for that prediction.
Wow, Tiff with the broadcaster blessing today and not the caster curse. I have to imagine that you know, you're right, that I think when it came to that jailbreak, they probably all have ARs in hands. And when we kind of saw that end game, right, there was sort of the high ground on top of the bridge that you could play. And then there was the lower area we were kind of looking where C9 and then we're kind of got stuck, right? I have to imagine that this was a team that was up there on that higher ground that kind of were just, as everybody decided to fly in, we saw a lot of people opted to kind of go towards that higher area. And well, the only thing is that there's not really a lot of loot up there, right? So we got people landing in with pistols and whatever guns the game has decided to give them when they spawn in. And well, at that point, it's just a feeding frenzy for these three, all just absolute slayers. A 40-point game. I cannot believe that. It has been an absolute insane day of total frenzy. This series is living up to its name, Tiff. We're watching Biffle get gifted $2,000. We're watching 40-point games happen. What is next?
80 points, 40 kills, 80 points, frenzies. Actual frenzies. Our brains are fried right now, but it's totally fine because the job's not done. Just because we have one team that has reached that Call of Duty Warzone match point threshold doesn't mean that we're over it yet. They still have to win another.
They do still have to win another, but they have given themselves a gap, that is for sure. Plenty of opportunity to make it happen. So we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at their leaderboard, see what other teams who maybe if they have a great game could join a team on Rational and Call of Duty Warzone match points. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Coming. I cracked one. C4, hit one warmer. One more. Looking for one. Self.
Far, I'm pretty sure.
Self. I did. Oh, close right. Warmer. Got him.
There you go. Nice.
So, come back in, yeah.
I'm trying to res.
Yeah. Drop bottom.
Yep.
Warmer.
Yep.
Got him.
Nice, I got the
Especially my bot.
Got the feet pulling up. Whole screen, whole squad. Down one.
Let's take height.
I need help to get out of here. I need help.
I'm coming.
I'm gonna peek over.
I'm going with Reese because I just
Yeah. I'm going right now.
Come on, Lonnie, deep right.
Nice.
What?
That's it. He just came out. Yeah, he shot.
I got mortared.
Yeah, I got knocked right here on my green.
Yeah.
Got the full.
I know. I got him. Nice.
Other side of the wall. Hit me with a C4.
Yeah, I know. Let's peek other side. People. Make sure you play that. Make sure you guys play that. I have a recon drone.
He just
They flared one. That shit. I hit him with RPG.
Hit me right.
I hit him with RPG. Careful with PA. Yep. Getting in. I'm playing inside right now. And I started him. On my left wall, and above you. Get above us, get above us.
Above you, dead.
Other one's on the wall, other one's on the wall. Crack. Play him. And then look up.
What do you do?
I'm learning.
I'm back on him, Shitty.
Yeah, I am. He's on the roof.
20. Nice, guys.
Crack.
I got him. I hit him with a gas.
Right, Daddy. He's cracked.
I'm running at it.
The ones right here.
I'm a
right
mark.
there,
Oh, no chop.
Se metió ese, al cuartito ese. A ese lo pueden con la
20.
Nice, hay otro de derecha. Que queda de top.
Muerto.
In the heli, find him. 20. Dead.
Nice.
I got the full dead. One's in there.
Le di a otro. A pushar.
Dead uno.
Otro team. On me.
On the roof of the shack.
Two more on the left.
Roof of the shack, dead. He's on my right, like down low in the tunnel or some shit. Nice.
Oh my god!
Let's fucking go!
Four games down, and we have one team curling on Call of Duty Warzone match point. None of us could have expected that here today, but a jailbreak in that game number 4 leads Team Unrational to dropping 40 eliminations, taking the dub for an 80-point game. Absolute insanity here, Tiff. But let's take a look at our leaderboards to get an idea of where's the rest of the lobby sitting as we get ready to go into game number 5. Help me break down this individual elimination leaderboard from that last game.
Yeah, so as expected, of course, this entire roster of Unrational, Scummin, and Dongy are going to be on it, and Scummin walks away with 16, so gonna lead the charge from just match 4 alone. However, Bubble CT walking away with double digits, and then Heeds starting to make some waves for that Omit EU roster, and then you kind of look on over, we still have some more EU boys, FIFA, Lennon kind of making their names up there also, but Bredman, Adrian, and Rated are gonna round out that with nice slew of 7 eliminations. Overall, very high scoring game for a lot of our teams.
Not too bad at all. Let's take a look at our overall team leaderboard, though, to get an idea on where our lobby currently sits. Now, listen, here at the top, Team Unrational, we just said, currently sitting at 150.2 points. They've given themselves a nice, solid buffer across the competition. But Amir, Breadman, Skullface, they're not too far behind Tiff.
You know, they're really not. And honestly, the buffer that they have will be warranted for about 2 games. So if they win one of the next 2 games, they're going to be totally fine. But knowing that we just witnessed an 80-point game, there's a very real possibility that Amir, Bredman, Skullface, these also squads, I'll even throw Team Biffle in there. I believe that we could see another heavy-hitting game that could easily get them to that threshold easily within map number 5. Now, you predicted 6 games. And that is looking possible, Dandro.
I mean, hey, maybe we'll both be wrong, and maybe Unrational will end it here, and we'll end in 5. You know,
yeah.
Who knows? Definitely possible. But if you are Amir, Bredman, or Skullface, I mean, realistically, I mean, okay, a 50-point game might be a little bit of a tall order. Definitely possible. But it's probably realistically looking like 2 games. We'll probably see some of these teams that are, you know, probably Amir and Bredman could do it in 2. Skullface, I think 2 really solid back-to-back games. They could do it in 2 games. Biffle, you're probably looking at 3, right? So I feel like, you know, if you are Team Unrational, you got to look at this leaderboard and say, okay, we probably have at least 2 games until anybody really threatens us. And hopefully that takes off a lot of the pressure, okay? That's kind of what I'm looking at. But meanwhile, down the leaderboard here, Tiff, I am seeing a bit of a gap once we kind of get down to team rated, right? You got rated colors, Aydan, Brax, all sitting at that sort of 70 to 60 point mark. And then it's just, we're into the 50s, and it is going to be tough to play catch up. After 4 games, if you're sitting in the 50s, that means you're just barely over a third of the way there. There's no chance this is going 12 maps. I'm going to say it now. That would be absolutely wild. So
yeah,
hopefully some of these squads can pull it on up.
I don't think we're getting 12, and if we do, I will be so okay with being wrong, but I will clear out my calendar because I've already done that. I could be here till 2 a.m. Eastern if you really want me to. If you want to all just kind of take turns winning with 29 different teams, we could see 28 games.
Please no. I mean, listen, I love Warzone just as much as the next person, right? I love it, but I do not want to be here that long watching a bunch of games, okay? I feel like, though, we do have a couple of people that will definitely be ready to hop on in and are really kind of willing to let it go the distance, right? And that's kind of for some of our competitors, that's sort of their specialty is you know, sure, you can have a hot swing in these first 3 or 4 games, but can you still have that same intensity once you get to like 8 or 9? That is there. So that's what I will be kind of curious about when it comes to some of our competitors. But right now, it is all on Team Unrational. Now, here's the thing, Tiff. They've come in second a lot, okay? They've been this first team to hit Call of Duty Warzone match point before and have not managed to clutch it out up. If you are Team Unrational in a lobby like this, with ground loot only, what are you trying to do here in this game number 5 to maybe end this early?
Win. I'm sorry. No, you want an actual answer. I know you're like, shut up. Okay. No, play your game. Like, don't change anything too crazy. We've seen you in those end game situations throughout all of our matches thus far. But what do you have to do to make sure that you can convert it? Get ahead of where those circle pulls are going. I would love to see them acquire foresight throughout this so they know and they can stay ahead of those circle pulls towards that late game to put themselves on the better side of it. Grab a couple PDSs, make sure that you've got your gas mask, so you haven't burnt them early on some of those things so you can put yourself on the right side. And then make sure if there's high ground in that end game and it's pulling towards you that you've already rotated to get ahead of that and you can't get ripped off height. So you can just kind of pick people up as they rotate in. Honestly, I think that's where you need to be.
No, I think those are all great shots. Getting those durable gas masks is key. Knowing where the zone's going to end is key. But also having things like PDSs in your backpack as well as, hey, because we have them, have your flares on standby, ready to go, because it could come down to the moment where you just need a couple of flares in order to keep your team alive, in order to cinch the win. So hopefully we'll see them be able to do that. We are getting lobby number 5 up and ready here. Should be dropping in any moment. But as we get ready to do that, I mean, we just got to talk a little bit about that last game, because it is still absolute insanity that Unrational and them are able to pull out 40 eliminations. Granted, off of a jailbreak. I love that. There's a little bit of asterisks, you know, on that. It wasn't just like a normal sort of lobby, I'll say that. But either way, the fact that you were able to kind of farm that jailbreak so hard to put you over our win condition, really impressive.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet from Unrational in particular during that break where he was saying most kills in a custom ever with 40 eliminations, and they hit match point was from 70 points. Like, that's just crazy that they were able to do that. A lot of people also saying, you know, Unrational, I wasn't really familiar with your game. I was just like, WTF. And, you know, Warzone Total Frenzy, right? That's just something we would totally see here. But to have that momentum going into game number 5, knowing that teams are multiple maps away from hitting 150. Now, granted, as someone who is so very familiar with this format, I have seen multiple times where a team does go into win condition, but then cannot close it out. And I really hope for this roster that that is not the case, because at the top of the show, we were talking about it, Dandro. We were like, you know, we would love to see someone else different take this yet again. And I think it's definitely time for this one to step right in and take it.
It definitely could be time. I mean, getting into a past our win condition after 4 is very impressive, to say the least. Would love to kind of see them be able to close it out in 5, because that's something we've seen, I think, literally only Team Falcons are able to do. I think the fastest they've ever closed out a match point, I believe, is in 5. It could be 6. I know it's one of those two. So to see them do that would be really, really cool. Especially in kind of a fun format like this. I think that's something we got to talk a little bit about, Tiff, right? Now, normally we're here rocking World Series of Warzone playlist, trios, match, point, hyper, ultra, competitive,
sweaty,
blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right, sweaty, lobby. And then we're kind of coming in here, we're like, hey, well, you can't use your loadout anymore. It's ground loot only. And at the surface, that feels like just like, oh, a little fun tournament, haha. But it's like, no, this is still just as competitive as our lobbies normally are. It's just with a slight little tweak, a little wrench thrown on in it. You can't hit those loadouts. You can only use ground loot at your disposal. And obviously, for a lot of these competitors, they are finding it successful.
And there's a lot of different things that go on when you pull out of that World Series of Warzone Trios playlist, right? So our competitors are used to having that fire sale at the top of Circle 3 every single game, right? Which is where you're starting to see things where you've got, you know, Contractor, you've got all these other public events, right? Fire sales aren't, you know, always going to be there. And then we see the jailbreak occur, right? So there's different things that we are going to be witnessing throughout all of this. Now, a lot of teams, they've been working on the black sites, getting specialist, having the unlimited tax sprint boost, like different kind of motives to be able to get through these lobbies. And whether or not that's working for you, that's great. But every time we did see SSD get a black site, their games were cut short. I kind of went back through their performances. Game number 1, a 15. Game number 2, 19 points. Game number 3, they get 34 points, which is very typical of what we're used to for that roster. But then even in game number 4, they slide back into the teens again, and it just seems like they can't get a flow moving.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, maybe this whole sort of flow that they normally have of like, okay, let's land pop off. We know we want to get our loadout. We know how we're going to play this game. I think it's just they're finding it a little bit awkward on how they want to maneuver around the map now that they don't have to do that. I think also we have seen changes to pop-off power, let's be honest, right? Of course, with that reloaded update kind of came some of that ooze maneuvering about. And I think that maybe kind of screwed up their landing spot a little bit, right? I think it could allow for more teams to sort of land and potentially contest them. That's there. There's obviously always the RNG of, you know, where does the circle pull? Where is the plane line? All of these things can sometimes kind of maneuver on in of if that is the case or not. So a little bit interesting that, you know, they have had a little bit of a rough day. At least thankfully it's not like complete stinkers, right? They're still gaining 14, 15 points a game, which is good, right? I mean, like if you're going to have bad games, at least getting 15, 20 points a game is still not bad, right? I mean, that's kind of more than what some people have the entire tournament thus far. So to kind of continue that momentum is definitely good because, hey, maybe we have another jailbreak. Maybe you get to be that team and all of a sudden you might be able to join Team Unrational at the top there for a, you know, kind of another part of the leaderboard. But hey, folks, for now, we are just getting ready to get that lobby set up for you. So we are going to go to a very small break. When we come back, we are hopefully going to be dropping in to map number 5. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for dealing with us for that little bit of a delay, but we are about to hop into map number 5. I'm being told players are in the plane. We're going to drop in here pretty soon. So, Tiff, a little bit of an ice situation, but we do have one team on Call of Duty Warzone match point.
You're right. After an 80-point game, Team Unrational puts themselves at Call of Duty Warzone match point with 150.2 points. The teams that are kind of bringing up that top 5 are just about to eclipse that triple digits mark, and very well, if they have a solid game here, could look to be on that 150 mark as well. However, we both kind of believe, we talked about this prior to the break, that we think it's going to be 2 more games before we see someone else hit that win condition. But for now, let's jump in. Match number 5.
All right, hopping on in. Let's kick it off, of course, with our one team that is on Call of Duty Warzone match point, Unrational, Scummin, and Dongi. You can see them here as we look at where is the zone pulling a little bit south and west as well. The plane line will hopefully be good to them. Now, here's the thing. Will they land top high rise still, Tiff? That's my question. That's where they've been landing to get themselves into these power positions, but they're not trying to get eliminations this time. They are just trying to take the dub.
Hear me out. Unrational just said, hear me out. I think we go here. I saw a ping for Manor, but it looks like we're still committing to the high-rise construction area in Zerevan City. Now, a lot of people do know this squad's typical drop spot. So if they land where they normally do, there's a potential for them to get heavily contested if people are feeling spicy.
Just don't do any dumb shit. Like, you can go grab a recon. I don't think it was on this side of the map, right? Like, maybe
not. Maybe they're free.
I do like that call. I mean, they kind of just late, you know, they had a couple ideas of where they wanted to go. You see Mike kind of marking out. They have a decent idea of where the rest of this lobby wanted to kind of land, and well, it looks like maybe City so far. It looks pretty wide open and free. So they're going to grab that intel contract. It goes on through, and Unrational's going to be the one to push on forward and hopefully be able to complete this contract. It's in a little bit of a kind of awkward space, if you ask me. You get a couple of people who can look down at you, but right now this could be a huge sort of first step into them kind of figuring out where is the zone going to pull. How do they want to play the rest of this game?
Ooh, we'll just have to wait and see. It looks like that recon contract will be the best thing that they can do for now to play small. Yes, it's going to send up that flare that basically says someone's doing this, but they've already kind of calmed that there's just not a lot of people down in this particular area. And once we see where that circle is going to start pulling, it'll give us a good idea. And we are going heavily into the south. Now, think of all the southern zones we've witnessed, Dandro. We've even had ones pull out into open fields, and this could get real disgusting really quick.
Yeah, I do think this one might end up a little bit on the outside. So if I were them, I might be looking at even an additional sort of intel contract that you might be able to do. I think that that would be a huge clutch factor here. But, well, this is another way you could do it as well. You have this bunker ready to come on out. Maybe you can go and find some foresight on the other side. Well, look who it is. It's FIFA kill. He's last one alive. Lennon in Wars, fully deleted off the map.
Wow, that's not a good way to start things off. FIFA, in kind of damage control, needs to acquire the cash to get the homies back, and shouldn't be too bad considering there's so much of the map still in play because it's fresh lobby to get a clean buyback.
Trying to figure out where they want to go. A clean buyback would be huge. I mean, you got Wars with 15K apparently, and nice. They do find a gulag re-entry, so at least if FIFA kill does get taken out, we'll still have an opportunity to keep the dream alive. But if I'm him, you want to be able to try and grab one of these buy stations, get Wars back on into it, and, you know, feel pretty solid. He has the cash though to get the double buyback though, so you just need the buy station now. You got everything else you need.
All right, good comms. Go up top, zip across, jump down. We're looking for that buy station on the mini map. However, you can see that he's popping up on a UAV here. Not ghosted, doesn't really have what he needs to in terms of like being safe from that. But the moment he makes that move to the UAV, he pops off it and should be safe here.
There you go. Smoke grenade comes on out. Kind of obscure the vision. They'll be able to get the two teammates back on in, and well, when your lobby was looking chalked, David Killer, just a little bit of patience, rotates his way to a buy station, gets the boys back on in. So as a gulag entry kit is going to throw it down for somebody else. So at least that way, if they do get taken out again, hey, you at least have another chance into the gulag. They'll pick up a scavenger, though. So hopefully get some better loot, but more importantly, cash across the three of them.
That's exactly what you want, that cash. But a squad that had been at the top of the leaderboards, aside from that massive game from Team Unrational, it's going to be this Castillo Dark roster. Now, they're just 1.2 points away from that triple-digit threshold. And now, they've been really good at acquiring eliminations, right? You had Dark at the top for the longest time of the overall individual leaderboard. But they had that 40-point game in map number 2, and it was pretty solid, and everything else has kind of been situated around that 20-ish mark. But this is their time to maybe look for a 52-point game. We don't want Unrational's team to win if they're them. They need that 2x multiplier.
I mean, a 50-point game would be kind of wild to see them in those first sort of 5 games to have not only a 20 elimination game, but somewhere around a 25, 26 elimination game would be really, really solid for them. And you can see they've come over here to the loadout and... Okay. Interesting things happening here on main stage, Tiff, because you're not supposed to hit your loadout. I don't know if Amir got that message.
Yeah. I'm fine, Dandro. It's fine. It's not like we have the entire Call of Duty Twitch channel to be able to see that.
Oh, caught in 4K is what that is. Oh, no. Well, okay. Well, we'll wait and see what's going to happen. Other side of the map, Tommy, last one alive. Thankfully, his 2 boys still got the gulag, but definitely a rough map so far. He's already got 3, though. 2, he's an aim. Can he stay alive? WSP Swarm gives him a little bit of the movement speed he needs to hit the shimmy around the corner. Can he make it to safety?
The only thing is, like, when you're on mouse and keyboard, which Tommy's not, let me just make that very clear. The shimmy is so fun to do if you're being shot at. I feel like I'm in the Matrix, but homie just really put on the skates and got out of there.
I mean, hey, 120 FOV, you're kind of moving. You can start feeling like you are, you know, in the bullet time mechanics there sometimes. But they go ahead and the double push comes on out. That's Watch Waldo. Quality 2K and Nick Cool. That team will go ahead and put them on down. So early gulags for Tommy, Teeny, and Obbs. If you are Oak Boy, Picnic, and Ryder, though, over here towards this outskirts of this city, probably feeling pretty good. You got Ryder with a Cat AMR in hand. You got a Bunker Buster. You got Muni Box. You're probably set up for the moment.
I'm feeling good. I mean, this is a roster that needs to have a banger game, right? They're at 30 points after 4 matches, which isn't really where they want to be. We know they're capable of more. It's just a matter of time before turning it around. I feel like I said about every single squad, but that's just because that's how it is. Anyone has the capability of a 40 to 50 point game. Clearly, we've got capabilities of 80 point games if we have jailbreak. So you really never know.
That is true. I mean, what if we had back-to-back games with jailbreaks, Tiff? That's really my question, right? Like, somebody able to come out on top would be absolutely insane. Rated over here, kind of a little bit outside manor. We know that they love to kind of play this area of the map, and well, it seems like it's been so far probably pretty decent to them. They can see where this zone is going to go ahead and pull, where the next couple zones are. As the UAV is ringing out, giving them information that there's a couple of squads nearby. We saw one fly on in, but is it just one, though, Tiff, is my question. You're rated. You got an MTZ 5.56 and a striker. Not entirely terrible weapons, but rated. You might be able to find a cheeky little angle here.
Look at the balloon. This dude didn't make it. This dude didn't make it. Look at balloon. Look at balloon.
Look at the balloon. He didn't make it. There goes the live ping, and unfortunately gets an angle. We're taking some good shots. The tracking's crazy. It's just not able to be finished there. But with that foresight, we finally see where that zone is going to be ending. And man, those circle pulls are gonna get horrendous. We are going deep to the deep south of Urzikstan.
Whew. Get the fried chicken, get your grits, maybe some collard greens as well. Because we're going to the south.
I was gonna say, I feel like you could probably go shopping at Atlas Superstore and find a lot of good things here soon.
Soon, but not just yet. Gotta wait for season 5 for that one. Destroying the Gulag against Echo. Some great early shots. Renetti in hand. Can he manage to wrap this one on up? Echo is being a slippery little snake, but not slippery enough.
I'm getting my phone.
What?
Oh, he's pumped about that one.
Dude, I would be too. Echo was put on the moves trying to really make that happen. If you take that down, you are feeling like All Might.
We have a fucking a cash dropping on us.
Ooh.
For us too.
That actually is kind of huge. You can see they are literally on top of a buy station. Well, let's take a moment to look at something here, Tiff. We know where the zone's going to end. Look at that final zone. You have a buy station in that final zone that is right there. So some of these teams, if they make that read, we could see a lot of plays towards that buy station just to get the buybacks rolling.
Jeez, that is just crazy. You know that's going to be tough, but Scum in full dead. They've ran into the Omit EU roster. Looks like they were able to take down Heeds, but we are in shambles. Now, mind you, this is our team that is Call of Duty Warzone match point eligible, and it is ending in bunker buster implosions from Rated.
Dongi looks like also in the Gulag, Unrational in the Gulag, so they'll have to play some regain there. Omit EU. They have some foresight. They know where this game is ending. I kind of like this position from enkeo. Being able to hold this building for a couple of these zones will be great. And even when it gets down to that last final remaining zone, like, you're already in a very solid position. So I'll have to wait and see. But my only kind of worry here is if they're currently in 23rd. So sure, you have foresight. You know where this zone is pulling, but you're not going to get any eliminations for like another 3 circles.
That's true, but for Unrational, this Gulag here against Little Mario is very vital. Dongi seems to have survived his, but for now, we'd like to get back on the floor. We've got cash. We know where the zone is typically going towards, and that lethal being thrown from this direction will give us some information.
Wow!
But not enough.
It's so hard not to shoot the fucking gun, man.
Oh, Gary's a little angry.
Go back.
On board with
that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll leave it. I mean, it is fair to be a little like, the smoke was great. He knew that, obviously, that little Mario there was in the smoke, but I don't think he expected him to like smoke it and then just full sprint the zip. A little bit of a weird position if you're kind of trying to make that read.
Wait a second. Yes! Smixy picks up French players. She's calming in French. Do you know how happy this makes me? So happy.
Does it make you happy because you're about to translate their comms to us?
No, we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is sit here and just appreciate Smixy's competitive Warzone level. You talk about her switching between rosters all the time, but not only that can she like work with a lot of the English speaking teams, but now she's got an entire other country of Warzone competitors that she can work with.
I mean, hey, maybe World Series of Warzone next year. We see Smix go to EMEA. Play with some of the French phenoms. We'll have to wait and see. It looks like this fight, though, is kind of kicking it on up. B-Mark gets deleted, as does Clutch Belk. A great sort of collapse there from Smixy and her team. They are playing the edge of zone. You got to redeploy nearby, so hopefully that'll kind of let you get a little bit more aggressive. But Lobby kind of dying a little bit faster here, Tiff. Only 19 teams remaining as we are coming into the start of zone number 5.
And a lot of this could be attributed to a stark southern pull, right? Anytime you have a zone that decides to pull one way, whether it's that map 1 where we kind of went all the way to the northwest, or whether it's this one, you have so many teams that are looking to rotate those big distances, but usually get caught off on those. And if you haven't already found yourself over down towards South Urzikstan, you are going to get held out by whether that's a mid-EU, whether that's Rated's roster, or even Rated's or Unrational squad that kind of went back for the regain.
Yeah, I'm slotting back.
Where's it from?
Like on the hill, bro. And then there's a guy on this roof right here.
Hearing some of the comms coming from these 3. Ooh, okay. Ryda tries to maybe poise himself for a snipe, but somebody just barely off the mark. Ooh, he jumps up. You can see that glint in the window. Can you maybe throw a shoulder here? Oh, okay. I like that. I like it, Ryda.
It's the way to kick things off. Let me just tell you, Cat AMR. He's honestly got solid weapons here for this game with the bunker buster in tow. And you got good comms coming through, and they're going straight into the open, and that's Scummin!
On my danger. Yeah, on my danger.
He's knocked.
I bunkered it.
I bunkered it. There's the full. So not only does Unrational get fooled with a bunker buster early, but Scummin goes out to this. You know that Unrational, Dongy, the reset likely came through, and they're probably looking for this rotate.
Yeah, you gotta remember, Tiff, they don't really care about eliminations. They just care about the win. So Scummin gets taken on out. I'll be curious, where are Unrational and Dongy? Are they still up? Because that wasn't a squad wipe. So at least one player still here as we cut on over. Well, Dongy, he's flying back on in, meeting up with Unrational over here towards the remains of this bunker. Maybe you can find some gear to stay online, but not a terrible kind of location to go ahead and sit here on.
No, definitely not. Scummin wins the gulag, and we're going to dive back into the bunker. You're going to have gas masks. You're going to have utilities here, and, well, Scummin doesn't quite make it on in. Here comes another bunker buster, which can be really tough to work around, and Scummin does get fooled yet again by Ryda. Actually, this is likely the delay that we just witnessed, because that would be wild if the same thing just happened.
I mean, it definitely is possible. We'll have to wait and see. Only one elimination for Dongy. I mean, I kind of like this, you know, you just at least find stuff that you can feel confident about. Like, you say, hey, you know, if I have this perk package, if I have these guns, like, I feel like I can kind of make something happen with these. Just stay alive. You start feeling pretty solid along the way. So, all right, now, though, I mean, look at this, Dave. They kind of don't have to move. They could just hang out down here in this bunker for at least a zone or two. My only worry is you got no PRDs, you have no PDSs, really all of these things that you maybe would want to kind of try and make some moves happen with if you're going to try and hang out in the gas. But I don't know, there's still a lot unlooted here. Maybe you find one.
It seems like that's what they're looking for, right? That's tough because you still don't have Scummin back. We don't have flares. We got the mobile buy stations and the one that's going to be towards that end game, but at least a durable gas mask will help for now. But knowing how many teams have already moved into this area of Urzikstan on the map, like, it's going to be a risk to try to get around through there.
I mean, these are some great things you have to find, though. At least a durable gas mask. You find that tack boots. It's feeling pretty solid, but back above ground in the mix is Panda. It looks like they're able to take down Lil Mario and Sin, so keeping it alive so far. 9 right now for Panda. This is a very solid pace.
Ooh, this is really cool, knowing that you were on 49 points and we're looking at double-digit eliminations, cleaning things up from the island here. Do have to rotate, but it looks like we're going to be calling out all the distances around us, making their way over. It looks fine, but you got that mortar strike incoming just towards the right, but they've already got it pinged. The LTV pulls up, so you're getting a lot of information on where not to approach.
Yeah, and I kind of like that little bit of a patience right there from Panda. He kind of opens up, throws the smoke, and just needs to tread water a little bit just to get his air tank refilled back on up, and then just uses that to gain here. And now just sitting on the side here, you don't really have to do much. Drops another smoke and is kind of just trying to throw a shoulder underneath the water. Gain a sight line. Anybody trying to look on through, but so far it's looking solid. For right now, this team could just sit out here in the water for the rest of the map if they really wanted. As I say that, though, it looks like somebody has spotted them as some shots come on through. Will bring Panda very low, but not a knock.
Another smoke goes out. Maybe we hang it towards the right. But it's going to be tough because you knew there was multiple squads towards the right, and there we go, getting spotted. We just got to kind of finesse, get into a building. We lose out on Volcom. We've got Resolve. We have Panda, and it looks for now we're going to be a duo. But with 12 squads up, if Dongy, Unrational, Scummin are one of them, that chance they have to convert this to a win and end it here now is very possible.
Almond has gotten knocked. Skullface flying back on in. You got a Ram 7 in hand and a Dream. So he's just going to lay in the back of this LTV. I think for right now, they just want to kind of hold on and try and play for top 5, and I respect the decision. Yeah, they're on 12. They would love a top 5.
Well, what they need is a good 1.8x multiplier, because if this does somehow end here, then you want to make a play for top 3. Because mind you, if someone does win and they've already reached that Call of Duty Warzone match point eligibility, the leaderboard freezes after this map.
A very solid game could kind of put them over the top and maybe get them into the money. Oh, tough reads. Yeah, I love that they were trying to make that call out, but woo! Oh, you gotta be careful. Can he do it?
Okay, wait. We get one. We get noobs coming on back.
Just look at the triangle of mortars above him on this mini map. You're hearing even the call outs that, like, yo, just if you see people go down, look for flares. Look who's on top. It's raided. They're kind of looking at the rest of this lobby. Trying to move his way on down though, Tiff. I don't know if I like this.
You gotta hit the swing, you gotta connect, and that's a knock on to gromalokk. We lose Bulieve in the process, but here comes all of the explosions. You counter UAV, so you really don't get any info. You got smokes everywhere. You're spotted from the back. You get destroyed by enkeo, and now everything is gonna fall into a blazing glory.
Well, oekiy doing a great job of trying to clean up the rest of this lobby. We saw them that they were making a read very early on with that foresight.
They took balloon. They took the bunker. I'm getting psyched.
Wait.
Wait.
They took the bunker. You know who was in the bunker?
Yeah, Unrational and them. We'll have to wait and see.
No smokes. Want to go up or no?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, and I haven't gotten word from production if they're still in the game or not. But you got Jackal and Brawlick. We had the omit roster. And now we're into the top 3.
Brawlick and Jackal, they actually have a really kind of solid position here. This buy station's still alive. oekiy even a kicking it. Well, look at this. enkeo was on 16 by himself out in the gas, trying to fly on through. Will he be able to find Doggy? Doggy's never coming. Was going to be able to answer on back. They potentially might still be alive. We're going to go a little bit back in time here, because we're still seeing where there's 4 teams up, but we might be able to see how they're going to play the rest of this lobby out. They've made it into the top 4.
Well, here we go. This is the team. When you heard that comm from Skullface saying they took the balloon from the bunker, and here they are. To the top of the building we go. This next engagement you're likely going to see is with oekiy. They're taking angles. There goes gromalokk. Unrational very low. Dongy very low. Scum and grabs the full. But just chaining these rooftops together into the top 3, we need a little bit of a reset.
And they're able to all stay alive, which is insane. Doggy, you're going to be able to get the PA. You light up what is left of this zone. Another mortar strike as well. They have all of the cash, and there's a down to gromalokk. Okay, flies on forward. Doggy does get knocked because Coming is there with the reset. And just look at this mini map here, Tiff. I'm looking at a mortar go off. You got a mosquito drone up in the air. Absolutely insane right now. And they still have the cash as well. They're just holding this side of zone. Heeds gets taken up. That's a squad wipe. And it's a 3v2.
It's likely going to be that duo we witnessed on the rooftop that had such good angles. Scumming though down. Brawlick fooled. It's a 2v1. It could end here after an 80-point game, and they do it.
Wow, and with 13 eliminations to boot, they got a little iced moving into map number 5. But Unrational, Scummin, and Donkey, they do not let it shake them, Tiff. They are able to go back to back. They drop one of the biggest point games we've ever seen in Call of Duty Warzone match point to put them over that win condition. And now they go back to back to end it in 5. Congratulations to Unrational, Scummin, and Dongy.
We were both wrong, Dandro. We were both wrong. You said 6 games. I would not have thought this series would end in 5. If you had asked me after that map number 3, when you asked me who I thought would win match number 4, I did not know that the rest of our series was going to look like this at Warzone Total Frenzy. When I picked Unrational's team to go ahead and win map 4, we did not know it was going to be an 80-point game, which is the biggest game I have ever seen personally in a customs tourney. And now this, a back-to-back win?
I don't think anybody could have expected this today. I think today really kind of lived up to our name of being a total frenzy. We had that map number 1. We were watching Biffle and somebody gifted him $2,200. Happy for you, my dude. If you want to send any on over, I wouldn't be upset, my friend, because that was absolutely insane. We watch, of course, then a 40 elimination win from Unrational. And well, right at the end there, they're able to go back to back to clutch it on up. What a fantastic day of Warzone that we've been able to have. Saying that match number 5, though, a little bit of a breakdown. You can see Unrational with the 6, coming with the 5, and Dongi with the 2. Still, 13 eliminations for the win is still really solid.
It was solid, and it was not easy by any means. If you think back to that prior match, the one that they were able to secure the win, think of all the issues that they had to go through, right? You got Ryda sniping in them. You got the bunker busters coming through. But then we get a look at what they're doing in that bunker throughout the duration. They must have flown out with minimal people. And then because there were buy stations towards that end game, things just got chaotic. They had tons of cash, and they made the streaks do a lot of the force for them.
Well, it kind of goes to show, we watched oekiy had that foresight. They were set up in the building that was right beside that buy station. We knew that there was going to be a buy station in that last final zone. But for some reason, oekiy, I don't know if they get a little antsy or what, they decide to fly on out. They kind of push to the other side of the zone away from the buy station. And them doing that kind of opens up that entire side. It lets Unrational, Scummin, and Dongi fly out from the bunker. And now they are just sitting on this. Not only are they sitting on a buy station, but they're sitting on a buy station literally on a wall. So all they have to do, they can hit the buy station. They buy, I think the clutch moment there is they buy a lot of those kill streaks to be able to kind of close out the rest of that zone. We see a PA come in. We see a mortar come in. They have a mosquito drone up in the sky. And there's just so much that it just is really hard for that final kind of 2 of Brolic and Jackal to be able to kind of play and play for them, right? It comes down to the final moments, but hey, they were able to clutch it on up. So some big thinking, some big brain plays from those 3 to help them lock it on down, though. So they will take home our $7,000 for first place. We're not the only ones taking home some cash here, Tiff. So I'll be curious to see how does our leaderboard shake on out, because I don't know who's taking home the 2K, who's taking home the 1K. I'm always curious.
Yeah, and it had to have been really close, because remind yourselves, like after that bubble, after the initial gap that we had saw from that 80-point game from Team Unrational, everyone was like decimal points away from each other from that 2nd to 5th place. So depending on how you performed in match number 5, that's going to really seal your ticket, because we did have $10,000. Obviously, you said $7,000 for first place. So once again, congratulations to Team Unrational for taking home the lion's share of that. But in terms of who's going to walk away with 2nd place 2K and 3rd place 1K, I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I'm not even going to try to predict. I'm going to totally wait for those leaderboards as they come in. So as those players, we are just waiting for them to submit their scores and the admins to kind of do all the math on the back end.
Yeah, and we know that Amir was very close. The team Skullface was very close. I mean, Skull was able to make it to top 5, that 1.8 times multiplier, I believe, with 12 eliminations. I don't think Amir and them were able to make it very, very deep on that game. So definitely a very solid potential for some of these teams to kind of leapfrog and be able to make their way on up. I'd be curious to see where oekiy ended. I don't think it was enough for them to kind of be in contention there towards the top, but we kind of came on over, and enkeo had 16 alone, right? So the fact that they made that top 3, you have the 1.8, it looks fantastic. It looks great, but they were pretty bottom of the leaderboard, to be honest with you. So sorry, there's no money for moving from the bottom to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, that was going to be really tough for them, right? Their game 1, it was a 4-point game. Game number 2, 10 points. And then game 3, they had a 2-point game, which is very uncharacteristic of that oekiy roster. And granted, since we didn't really see too much of them on that main broadcast, it's very hard to say, hey, like what went wrong with them? So I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know. I just know that I'm not used to seeing scores like that from oekiy.
Yeah, so I mean, a tough day for them. I think it was a tough day for a lot of our squads that were kind of sitting there towards the middle and bottom not having a loadout might have just been tough for some of these teams, right? I think it does kind of throw off your entire cadence and how you try and play some of these maps and the sort of timings that you're trying to hit. When you take away having to get that first 15,000 for a loadout, I think some teams were like, okay, we realized that we could just buy UAVs and start flying at people. I think other teams took a little bit more of a lackadaisical approach to it and didn't feel as needed to try and start moving around the map. So I think for some of the teams that maybe started moving around the map, maybe it was a little bit too overzealous. Maybe you did get eliminated on rotation. Some of the other ones, I think that maybe could have been the key to success, because we saw for our team that was in second, Team Amir. I mean, Dark did a fantastic job of just frying out all day. It was a big reason that they were sitting as high as they were in the leaderboard.
You're not wrong. And plus that 40-point game that they had in map number 2, there were a lot of heavy hitting games that were north of that 40-point average. And honestly, we were talking about Omit EU. They did put up a 30-point game in game number 4. So it's only a matter of time to see what those eliminations worked for that Omit EU roster. But even Fnatic, Rated, Breadman squad, they were all right there trying to make a play for the top of the leaderboard. And when you know that Unrational squad is still alive towards that end game, you know that leaderboard is about to freeze. So you are like kind of in that scramble, a frenzy per se, of trying to rack up eliminations that are going to be worth 1.8, because if you don't win, you don't get that 2x multiplier. So the best you're going to be able to get is that top 5 1.8, which can still do wonders if you put up 20 plus eliminations.
No, it's a great point. I think if you are kind of realizing, if you're one of those teams who, like you said, it's at the end of the game, you realize, oh, the team that's about to potentially end the tournament is still alive in this top 5 scenario. Like, yeah, you're going to do everything you can to try and get all of those eliminations. So, and one thing we got to talk about too, even the fact that Unrational and them got 13 eliminations, that's a lot of points kind of that they take away from other teams as well, especially when it comes to those ends. But I'm being told that we have our leaderboard ready. So let's dish out some cash. We know our team taking home first place at $7,000. But let's look who was second, who was third, Tiff. And well, look who's in second. The play worked out. Team Skullface makes their way towards the top, 113.2 points. And I'll eat my words here, Tiff. Team enkeo, one game is all it takes, puts them in the money. Just 1 point, however many points above Team Biffle, to take home $1,000. Absolute insanity.
It was a 56-point game, Dandro. They had 31 eliminations. Could you imagine if they were able to go on and defeat Team Unrational there? You would have seen a maybe 70-point game with a 2x multiplier if they were to get 35 elims there, because you saw them start to kind of fall a little bit earlier than they would have liked, but that 1.8x multiplier did crazy. Also, Dandro, is the first time that we've worked a Warzone Total Frenzy together where maybe Team Biffle placed outside the money?
That might be the case. I think there was one of the early ones that they weren't able to take it on home. They were pretty early on in their team chemistry stage, so kind of wild. But hey, I love that we're able to crown a new victor. Huge shout out yet again, of course, the Team Skullface taking home in second $2,000, and Team enkeo in third taking home $1,000 total. But that is, of course, our Ground Loot only trios Call of Duty Warzone match point event that we have here for you today. So, Tiff, let's get ready to wrap this on up. Give me your overall thoughts on the day, any surprises you had that were here, and more importantly, where can people find you on the internet if they want to keep up to date with you?
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, Ground Loot Only is just such a fun event, right? It really changes the entire dynamic of Warzone Total Frenzy, and I love it. Once again, congratulations to Team Unrational for putting up that 80-point game. It is, lo and behold, the biggest custom score that I have ever seen throughout my time casting Warzone, and it was just really cool to witness that. If you guys love to follow me, don't feel like you have to, but I'm at SpiderTiff pretty much everywhere, and sometimes I stream gameplay, but it's not anything like you're going to witness here. We just rage a little bit. Yeah.
I'm going to look directly in the camera and tell you to go follow SpiderTiff because she's an excellent streamer. And sometimes if you tune in, you're going to hear me yelling alongside her.
It's true.
It's been a fantastic day. I'm going to echo a lot of the same sentiments, right? I mean, every single game feel like we had some new moments that were really keeping us on the edge of our seat. And especially with the Ground Loot Only, I think we saw a couple of teams really kind of find their stride, which is always really exciting to see. So I definitely enjoyed that as well. If you guys like to come keep up to date with me, I'm at DandroCast pretty much everywhere. Play a lot of Call of Duty, and that's really all I do because I am helplessly addicted, as like most of us. But either way, fantastic event here today. If you want to keep up to date with Warzone Total Frenzy, go ahead, follow us on social media at WZ Total Frenzy over there on Twitter/X, and the same on TikTok. You can see clips from today, from past events, and keep up to date with everything going on. So make sure that you are following us there. With that being said, that's all we got for you today. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's Warzone Total Frenzy. Thank you to all of our players for coming in and playing here. I know we had a couple little delays, but I'm glad that we were able to get it resolved, get right back on track, and drop on in. And huge thank you to all the production and admin stuff in the back, because they would not be able to have this happen if it weren't for them. So I'm Dandro, that's Spider Tiff, and until the next Warzone Total Frenzy, have a great night.